Taylor Field, Regina, a perfect place for little Wendy's Friday night football. It's the Eskimos and the Roughriders, two teams with identical records in the midst of the great race in the West. The winner vaults into a three-way tie at the top of the heap.
Partner, two Western heavyweights set to go toe-to-toe tonight. The winner tonight gets a leg up in the battle for a home game in the playoffs.
And this is Saskatchewan, so there will be a breeze. The wind is at 30 from the northwest, left to right across your screen. The temperature, 24 degrees.
Last year, Tom Higgins led the Eskimos to first place in the West and a berth in the Grey Cup in his second season as a head coach. In year 3, the goal is a championship. Anything less would be a disappointment.
This is year 4 for Danny Barrett in Saskatchewan, and this is definitely his team. The team has been put together by Barrett and Roy Shivers to make a serious run at the Grey Cup. And Glenn, if they do get there this year, the celebration in Saskatchewan will be unmatched, unparalleled, and unbelievable.
Story of the week, Henry Burris has agreed to terms and will return tomorrow with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, putting that much more pressure on Nealon Green tonight.
He's played well in recent games. The statistics haven't been there as a passer, but he was very efficient in a victory over the Hamilton Tiger Cats that we witnessed here last Sunday afternoon.
Well, he's winning games, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. The stats really don't mean a whole lot as long as you're winning, and with a win tonight, they can go in a tie for first. And we are sold out tonight, partner.
26,000 plus here at Taylor Field. The blackout has been lifted, so all of Saskatchewan can watch the Roughriders and the Eskimos in a great battle tonight. Kickoff coming down to Kevin Nickerson, and he's met by the first wave of Eskimo tacklers. Sean Spender leading the way there. Lots of talk about Henry Burris, but Nealon Green is still the starter in Saskatchewan, coming off an impressive win Sunday. Green was very efficient in the victory, and those are the numbers on Green on the year: 6 touchdowns. The other key ingredient to his game is his rushing capability.
Well, he leads the Saskatchewan Roughriders in rushing.
First down, Roughriders. Beginning just inside the Saskatchewan 35. Chris Zarka. And Zarka is stopped in his tracks. Green's go-to guy is Travis Moore over from the Calgary Stampeders. Second start for Kenton Keith alongside Chris Zarka in the backfield. The Riders are solid up front, and this is the second game for Tango McCauley at left tackle.
Travis Moore will move and play in a lot of different positions for the Saskatchewan Roughriders in this one. Edmonton Eskimos love to play man-to-man. They will try to get Travis Moore in a bunch of different spots.
Zarka gained 2, 2nd and 8 here. Shotgun for Green, and a flag is down. The intended receiver was Quincy Coleman.
There's your defensive front 7 for the Edmonton Eskimos. Steve Charbonneau, Alfred Payton still out of the lineup. Watch for Dorian Boose. He's making a splash early in the season, the CFL this year. And in your secondary, Robert Grant starts the free safety for his third game. He has 1 interception.
Edmonton, number 25.
Your corners are Crutchfield and Malcolm Frank.
It was Quincy Coleman offside. Riders are looking at 2nd and 3 out across the 40, almost at the 42. Green back to the shotgun and loads in a hurry far side, and he one-hopped it for Travis Moore.
Looked like that was touched at the line of scrimmage. But Albert Reese, number 95, got to it, and as he came around the edge, they tried to get the ball out to Travis Moore quickly in a quick out pattern. And I thought Albert Reese got his paw on it.
A solid pressure defense from the Eskimos. Not all that flashy all the time, but they seem to get the job done. As Paul McCallum steps in to kick with the favoring wind. Winston October deep for the Eskimos. McCallum sails this one down to the 20. Corey Bailey, a newcomer in Edmonton, wrapped up in a hurry by the green and whites. 1st and 10 Eskimos, and Ricky Ray when we return. Eskimo quarterback Ricky Ray has already fired 11 touchdowns. He is as cool as they come and will not be 24 until late October.
Maybe what's most impressive with Ricky Ray is his completion percentage. 65.9% of the time he's completing his passes.
Eskimos begin the first drive just outside the 25. Two receivers to the near side. Here's Mike Pringle's first carry. Around the corner nicely. And Reggie Hunt has a meeting with Pringle right there. Ray has super receivers and Hervey and Tucker and Vaughn. Mike Pringle is just getting warmed up in this Eskimo offense. And up front, it's an all-Canadian offensive line that has allowed the fewest sacks in the league through the first 5 games. Starting lineups brought to you by Tums. Tums tackles heartburn fast. 4 yards for Pringle. 2nd and 6 for the Eskimos. Terry Vaughn. And Vaughn may come up a little shy of the first down. We'll check it out.
Challenge for the front 7 of the defense. The Saskatchewan Roughriders is Jackie Mitchell and Reggie Hunt. At 190 and 205, can they stop Mike Pringle tonight? And the secondary has their hands full as well with Terry Vaughn, Jason Tucker, and Ed Hervey to deal with in this one.
Quite a game against the Blue Bombers. A couple of weeks ago, Reggie Hunt setting a CFL record with 16 tackles in that game. How close is it? It'll be a first down.
Well, and this would be the matchup that we'll watch very closely tonight. Reggie Hunt set that CFL record versus Winnipeg, but he's going to have to really bow his neck, and that means get down low, get your head up, and get ready to take some blows, because Mike Pringle would rather run over Reggie Hunt than run around him.
Vaughn has the first down on 2nd and 6. So this time the Eskimos playing Scott Robinson to the near side. Pringle is wrapped up immediately. Never got back to the line of scrimmage as Scott Schultz was there to make the tackle.
Well, Reggie Hunt lined up wide in the formation and came off the corner, and he actually got in the backfield and made sure that Mike Pringle ran straight up into the middle of the formation. Here's Mike Pringle, and Hunt is over here. He's coming off the edge. When he gets there, he makes sure that Mike Pringle has to run right into the arms of Scott Schultz. Team defense from the Riders early. Let's watch this matchup tonight.
Not a bad team either, with Schultz and Nate Davis standing side by side for Saskatchewan. Low snap. Ray picks it up and fires a little too high. Jason Tucker back in the lineup was the intended target.
Boy, they're happy to have Jason Tucker back. Think back to that game versus Calgary, 171 yards and the catch. I'm just calling it the catch. And he went up over defensive back and came down with a touchdown catch. Missed last week's game for the Edmonton Eskimos, but back in the lineup, and he gives the balance of that formation. Terry Vaughn on one side, Jason Tucker on the other.
If it's not the best group of receivers in the Canadian Football League, it certainly has to rank with the top 2 or 3.
Well, we saw a good one last night in Montreal.
Into the breeze. Nickerson waits for it on the second bounce. Slipping on the 35 and topped up there by Roger Reinson on special teams. 1st and 10, Saskatchewan. Green on the money. Out at the 41-yard line, it's Quincy Jackson making the catch. 6 yards to gain, and Kevin Powell making the tackle.
And everyone, of course, in Saskatchewan wondering how the announcement of Henry Burris will affect the play of Nealon Green, and really it shouldn't. Danny Barrett has said that Nealon Green is the starter, and at this point Kevin Glenn is the backup. Now, it may change Kevin Glenn, because within a week or so, Henry Burris is supposed to arrive here tomorrow. Glenn could find himself 3rd on the depth chart.
Three receivers to the near side on 2nd and 5. Green will get a first down. Travis Moore wrapped up by Robert Grants.
Travis Moore, a little one-on-one to see how he goes and breaks to the outside. It's all about getting position on the defensive back. He starts on the outside shoulder, remains on the outside shoulder, and that's where he breaks out. 3 touchdowns on the season so far for Travis Moore.
No question that Saskatchewan quarterbacks have had eyes for Travis Moore at the expense of other receivers in this lineup. Calvin Nickerson, a little end around. Nickerson out across the 40. And there comes the flag and a face mask.
I think they're going to get a few more yards at the end of this one. It looked like a face mask at the end on the tackle on Nickerson. Little receiver around. He's going to come from this side of your screen and come back all the way to the opposite side of the formation. The play action up in the middle. And the receiver around the corner, and the safety, Robert Grant, has to chase him down.
Edmonton, number 27, face mask. First down.
There's the face mask from Singor Mobley at the end of the play.
Net 41 yards. And here's Mobley. Somewhat desperate there. "26-yard gain." Add the penalty in, and it's 41, setting Saskatchewan up at the Eskimo 23. First scoring threat of the evening at Taylor Field. Green has Travis Moore.
You see, John, they're establishing Travis Moore early, and they're playing him in a lot of different spots. In that last play to Nickerson, he was on the left side of the formation. There was only 2 receivers over there. This time, he comes to the right side of the formation, and there's 3 receivers on that side. And Travis Moore is going to be the inside one to the left of your screen, trying to establish him early and move him around so that they can open him up down the field.
Elon Green with an impressive drive. Still going here, second down. And not much running room for Zarka on his second carry of the night. There's a penalty marker down.
Danny Barrett standing beside offensive coordinator Marcel Belfay. And they have to know exactly how far away they are, and that's where the spotter's booth comes in.
Offside, Edmonton, number 27.
And it won't matter anyway.
No, it won't matter a bit. The first down will count for Saskatchewan, so Belfay has another decision to make, and that's perhaps what to suggest to Elon Green here.
Well, and Chris Zarka comes out, so they put the passing formation in there. One more receiver comes back in the game.
First down, Saskatchewan. And that's the first carry for Kenton Keith, who had an impressive debut the other evening with 88 yards on 11 carries.
And Kenton Keith, with those 88 yards, really the reason that Corey Holmes is not forced into the lineup, because with an 8-yard average every time you touch the football, Kenton Keith earned the right to start one more game.
Keith picked up 5 yards there. Jason French was the intended receiver.
Penalty flag is in the end zone.
It came down late.
Daryl Crutchfield is very unhappy. One more time, the Riders tried to get Travis Moore and use him this time as a decoy for Jason French. Travis Moore is up here. He's going to run into that area there. Jason French comes underneath. Travis Moore becomes the decoy. Here comes Moore around the corner, and as he goes into that corner right there, number 83, underneath comes French. Here comes Jason French, and they're saying he was interfered with. Now, Crutchfield's argument was once that ball is tipped at the line of scrimmage, interference is off.
Crutchfield is obviously not happy with what transpired there, and neither is the defensive coordinator Greg Marshall, who was over talking to him a second ago.
Greg Marshall's just trying to calm down Daryl Crutchfield because he was very vocal after the fact.
Jason French is injured and down, but it will be a first down for the Roughriders near the 3-yard line of the Edmonton Eskimos. 7:42 to go, opening quarter. Great drive for Elon Green and the Roughriders, beginning back at the 35. 7 plays later, they're set up at the Edmonton Eskimo 3.5-yard line. First and goal to go, Saskatchewan from there. Kenton Keith Glenn Young sticks him, and that is a gain of 1.5 yards.
You just sort out that Daryl Crutchfield penalty. First of all, you're going to see Nealon Green. Raheem Abdullah, number 90, from the right side, gets his hands on this football. Pass interference automatically waved off at that point, but when the flag came down, Crutchfield thought it was interference and got an objectionable conduct, and there's the last play. Glenn Young filling that hole very nicely for the Edmonton Eskimos. And Crutchfield's going to have to calm down on the sideline after the fact.
Actually, no gain on the play. They'll try it again, and no gain on that play either. It was Glenn Young on back-to-back plays lining up against Kenton Keith.
Well, he missed last week's game, so he's got fresh legs and fresh attitude, and Glenn Young made 2 big plays down on the goal line now right here. First one was from this side of the formation, second down from the opposite side, and the result is exactly the same. Slices right through that hole, closes in a hurry, does not worry about Nealon Green on the bootleg, and is right there to stop the Riders short. Now he's calmed down. Daryl Crutchfield back on the field.
Might be short a player here. Paul McCallum. Good on 14 of 16, and the Riders have to burn a timeout.
Danny Barrett is making sure that everyone gets the call straight on that sideline, because half the team thought the field goal team should be on the field. The other half thought they were going to gamble on third down. And the proper personnel was not on the field.
Third down and goal to go Saskatchewan at the Eskimo 3. So they have not advanced the football even an inch on the last 2 carries by Kenton Keith.
Well, it's 2 things. One, it burns the timeout for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That's their only timeout of the first half. And it gives Danny Barrett a chance to think about this third down gamble a little bit more, and he's going to keep that offense on the field.
Roughriders go gunning for a touchdown. It's third down and goal to go at the Eskimo 3. 2 on the ground, this one in the air, into the corner, no catch. Malcolm Frank was covering, and the coverage was extremely tight on Matt Dominguez.
Well, they battled all the way down the field, and you know, the officials are now trying to call pass interference and letting the players play a little bit more. Is this hand fighting or interference on Malcolm Frank? Little push there. Dominguez with his hand around the back of Frank's neck. I think let him play. Flag stays in the pocket, and I think it should.
So the fans were booing. I'm not so sure if they were upset at the no call or the fact that the Roughriders went gambling at the 3-yard line and came up with nothing to show for a rather impressive drive that began back at the 35. Ricky Ray for the Eskimos. First down, looking deep and looking for Ed Hervey, wearing a different jersey tonight. Hervey will be wearing number 6 this evening rather than his usual number 81.
It doesn't matter what jersey number Ed Hervey wears, he looks fast. It just doesn't matter. Which you put 81, you put 3 numbers on Ed Hervey, and he looks fast. 294 yards, really just starting to now get his stride last couple of games and get on the same page with Ricky Ray. Feels pretty good physically as well, and this could be his breakout game tonight.
817 yards, 7 touchdowns for Hervey last season.
2 last week.
2nd and 10, Ricky Ray. Onto the cover this time, looking for the receiver Hervey to turn it into a first down, and Reggie Hunt was there and waiting, so the Rough Rider defense holds.
There's Reggie Hunt right there. He's going to drop out of there as Ricky Ray drops back and really doesn't see what he likes. He looks to the left side of the formation, everything covered over there, so has to dump it off to Ed Hervey, which was basically the 3rd or 4th read, and Reggie Hunt, he's over there in a hurry.
So it's 3rd down for the Eskimos. McCullough and Nickerson are deep for Saskatchewan, but not all that deep. They're not even to midfield with the breeze that Fleming will be kicking into here.
They'll take too long in the huddle penalty.
And will likely offer up 2 points.
It doesn't matter. They were giving up 2 points either way. So into the wind, take as much time off the clock as you can, take the penalty, give up the 2, and get the field position back is the decision by Tom Higgins.
Well, it's a stiff breeze. Northwest at 30 as we begin.
The Riders won the toss and deferred, so they will get choice in the second half. Edmonton gets the wind at their back in the long quarter of the first half, which is the next one.
Fleming will take a few more ticks off the clock as he steps out the back of the end zone. And the first 2 points of the game belong to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who pinned the Eskimos deep. Sellout at Taylor Field tonight. John Wells and Glenn Suter up top. Kelvin Cron down at the Saskatchewan bench, and patrolling Taylor Field tonight, here's Ray Morrison.
26,757. There's not a seat left in the place tonight. And you know what? The signs of construction are already here for Grey Cup. You can see behind me, they're getting set to reconfigure the stadium here. And when they're all said and done, over 51,000 fans will be here for the Grey Cup game. So you can see the end zone seats are ready to go. They're going to fill in the far side as well. It's hard to imagine that tonight there's not an empty seat left in the house. And as far as the Grey Cup game is concerned, there'll be 51,000 here, and there won't be an empty seat in the house for that one either, John. Pretty incredible here in Regina this time of year.
Well, we remember the first trip to a Grey Cup in Saskatchewan back in 1995. Nickerson returning for the Roughriders. A decent place to begin, out across the 40 to about the 43.
I guarantee that Grey Cup game this year will be a sellout here in Saskatchewan, no matter who's in it. And the question is, can Nealon Green and now Henry Burris and the rest of these quarterbacks get the Saskatchewan Roughriders in it?
Well, they've got a shot at this stage of this season. Winner of this one tonight moves into a three-way tie for top spot in the West with the Blue Bombers and the BC Lions, all at 4-2. Nealon Green shotgun. Matt Dominguez. Singor Mobley. Kelvin Powell over to make the tackle.
Yeah, Singor Mobley moves to the safety spot. This is a rotation the Edmonton Eskimos like defensively. They'll bring linebacker Singor Mobley back to the middle and then move the defensive backs and roll them to the side of Matt Dominguez and Travis Moore if they're playing together. Now the wrinkle from Saskatchewan is to move more around.
2nd and 1. And that'll be enough for a first down from Chris Zarka. Tough to run against this Edmonton Eskimo defense.
You know, when you talk about Nealon Green, John, one more time, and what he's facing here tonight, and the pressure that mounts. No more pressure than was on him last week when they weren't sure if Henry Burris was going to sign here or not. And really, when you play quarterback in this city, no more pressure on him than week 1 of the regular season either.
Shotgun for Nealon Green. He's thrown well tonight, and he's got Nickerson. Glenn Young over to make the tackle.
Well, with Travis Moore and Matt Dominguez in the lineup, Kevin Nickerson sort of is the forgotten man. He's going to layer across the middle of the field and is right in the sight lines right there for Nealon Green. And he has made some exciting plays in the last 2 weeks. This is one of them.
Kevin Nickerson in his 2nd game. Brought in as a special teams guy and looked rather special on that reception and run after the catch. Roughriders just outside the 20 with a first down. 34-yard gain. Green hasn't taken off until now, but it's wide open as he sprints to the end zone. He's there. A 21-yard touchdown as Nealon fires one to the spectators.
What's most impressive of what Nealon Green has done in this game so far is the way he has thrown the football with authority, and that has pushed back that linebacking core and secondary for the Edmonton Eskimos, and at just the right time he took off and ran.
Callum gets onto the field for the first time.
And the Saskatchewan Roughriders catch the Edmonton Eskimos in a stunt. Kelvin Powell is going to come around the end on Dorian Boos and then get caught inside too tight. He loses containment. You cannot lose containment when you're playing against Nealon Green and his running ability.
He knew he had the angle from 6 yards out.
All he needs is one little step and he is gone.
7 carries for 65 yards for Nealon Green. He didn't manage a touchdown last week. On the season, he averages 6.3 yards per carry and has 220 yards coming into this one. That is the extra option you have with Nealon Green at the controls. And I thought he'd thrown the football extremely well tonight as well.
Well, he has, and that's been the difference, because in the games previous to this, he has established his running ability first and then mixed in the throws. And the throws have been timely, and Marcel Belfay has said to us before the game that he's made the big ones in the clutch throws. This time he established the pass first.
Winston October looking for a big night on returns. This could be a nice one for number 9 of the Eskimos. Bobby Perry was over to make the tackle. October has a 32-yard return.
Well, he just has tremendous speed to the outside. When Nealon Green, if you lose containment on him, it only takes like a half a step inside. See, Powell just jumped inside quickly, and away went
Major
Nealon
foul.
Green.
Saskatchewan, number 38. First down.
Dennis Maverin got called there on a late hit on the sideline. Will give Edmonton a little better field position as they try to respond to Nealon Green's touchdown.
Eskimos will begin.
Look at that dominance.
At the Edmonton 52. First down. It's up to Ricky Ray now to respond to a great couple of plays by Nealon Green and the 21-yard touchdown run. Like Pringle around the corner. And very close to a first down. In fact, he should have it. Reggie Hunt,
yeah,
making the tackle.
And they were toe-to-toe when they lined up, and they flew to the outside and met right at the sideline. And watch the power. There's Reggie Hunt, and there's Mike Pringle. Watch the power of Pringle at the end of this. And this is the challenge right now for Reggie Hunt at about 200 pounds. Here comes Pringle. Hunt's on his way, and here comes the hit. And he wraps up, and Pringle still gets 4 or 5 more.
Pringle picking up 12 there, a first down for the Eskimos. Ray puts it up. Ed Hervey makes the catch about halfway to a first down. Eddie Davis covering and forced him out.
We talked about, is this the best receiving core in the Canadian Football League? Last night, Dave Ritchie said when he was facing the Montreal Alouettes in Winnipeg that they had the best receiving core. And Herbie told me, you know, the best receivers in the league are the guys that don't just do it one year, but do it year in, year out. A guy like Terry Vaughn.
Hervey picks up 7. This is 2nd and 3. And Mike Pringle gets the call. I don't think he got the 3 yards necessary. Bobby Perry lined him up. We'll see where they spot the ball. Might be close enough to gamble, but I'm sure he didn't get 3 yards.
If he doesn't, he may be close enough. And you saw Ricky Ray audible at the line of scrimmage. He had to turn right around, and really it looked like the only audible there was to the side that Mike Pringle would run the football. Watch Ricky Ray, number 15, get up behind the center. Now he turns right around to tell the running backs, we're going to go to the left side of the formation here, because he sees a little hole right there. So he wants to run it there. Pringle hits it. And we'll see, they're going to gamble.
This could be the final play of the opening quarter. And flag already. Early movement down there after the flag was in the air.
Well, they're going to call Edmonton. They're going to call Edmonton on procedure. Wow.
Procedure. Edmonton 53. Still third down.
Tim Princeton.
Yeah, I think they may have got the wrong number. I think on the outside, Chris Morris lifted his hand up. He's right here. Once you put that hand down on the field, you cannot move it. You see how he lifted it up and took off. They may just have got the wrong number there, but that changes the decision, obviously, for Tom Higgins. They have to go and punt the football.
They called number 53.
Now we get called. Yeah, right.
And Tom Higgins is not a happy camper down there. McCalla, the lone deep back for the Roughriders. Fleming puts it high, not deep, and McCalla won't have a play on it. It trickles out around the 12-yard line. A 26-yard punt into the breeze on the final play of the opening quarter, with the Eskimos on top by 9.
After the touchdown by Nealon Green, John, yeah, a big crowd at Taylor Field, home crowd for Saskatchewan, and they come away with nothing after 3 tries from inside the 5-jock. A lot of teams, that would set them way back, but they responded nicely. Let's go through that quarter as it happened.
Well, they did respond nicely, Dave, but, you know, credit to Edmonton for stopping them down there. And it was 3rd and less than 5 when we see the fade into the end zone. And here we're going to see Shannon Garrett working on Travis Moore on the inside. Here's the contact made now. This is released here. You're going to see him give a little tug. You see Travis get a little tug in the jersey and tell you that's all fair in love and war, folks. And this is you're going to see now. Malcolm Frank, he's turning and looking at Dominguez. People would say, hey, that's pass interference. Check out where Matt Dominguez's hands are, wrapped around behind Malcolm Frank's head. And now the situation with referees in this league is if you're pushing off and they're pulling at the same time, they will always tell you, you cancel each other out, man.
That was the Edmonton Eskimo drive because penalties got the Saskatchewan Roughriders down the field on that drive to put them in that situation. Hats off to Edmonton for standing up and not letting them get in the end zone. But here's the situation I want to talk about. Nealon Green took the next drive on his own shoulders and hit Nickerson for a long gain, and then he does his dance into the end zone, beats Powell around the outside, and nobody's going to catch Nealon Green, Chris, when he gets to the outside because he's like a running back in that territory.
And the unknown warrior that's been helping out Nealon Green is Andrew Green. He is the left and the right tackle for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Let's first take a look at him as the right tackle. This is the first play of the game. What's the most important thing? Your mindset. Well, he drills his opponent, puts him on his back. Now you see him as the left guard on this play, and you're going to see him in a similar situation where he is going to be able to knock his opponent right off the ball. Why does he play the left and the right guard? Because that is the open side of the field they want to put him on. Those are the one-on-one opportunities. Don't let him block in space. Let him go man-on-man, Dave.
In the wake of the whole Burris signing thing, good start for Nealon Green. He's going to get the ball to operate again, I believe with the wind this time. In the second quarter, let's take you back to Taylor Field. Here's John and Glenn.
Ready for the second quarter on a breezy night in Saskatchewan. The Roughriders leading 9-0 on the Eskimos. Two teams with 3-2 records, and something has to give here tonight.
Well, now Nealon Green has to go into the wind. This is a long quarter in the first half. Edmonton now has it at their backs.
First down, Saskatchewan. Green keeps it on the ground. Kenton Keith has the ball, and here are the numbers as we compare both teams through one quarter of play.
Maybe the biggest surprise was right here. Edmonton Eskimos with just 2 first downs into a stiff wind, and the time of possession obviously relates to those first downs. With just 2, Saskatchewan dominates in that category.
Roughriders had 2 drives, 1 for the touchdown, covered 66 yards in 4 plays. And Nealon Green took it the final 21 yards for the touchdown. Keith manages only 1 yard. This is 2nd and 9, so Green looks to put it up, and that was touched at the line. Corey Grant hangs onto it, and they'll call it a completion as Grant stays inbounds at the 32.
The big boys up front for Nealon Green doing a nice job. You heard Chris Schultz talk about Andrew Green, but as a group, the 5 of them up there give Nealon Green one more time into this wind. Nice protection. They pick up a little inside stunt from Raheem Abdullah. Pick it up nicely, and look at the throwing lane for Green. Now it puts a little wobble on, a little NCAA wobble to the outside. Corey Grant with nice concentration.
Oh, was it ever?
Keep that left foot in bounds.
I thought it was tipped at the line because of the wobble it had. First down. Fake to Zarkin. Green picks his way for a couple of yards. After a 14-yard gain to Corey Grant, a couple for Green there.
Yeah, I love the call, though, because it's a designed play to fake it to Chris Zarka in the middle, and then for Nealon Green to run. And not only run, he's not only going to run to the outside, he's going to run in the middle where you get hit. I mean, so this is a gutsy call for Nealon Green, but a good one to get him in second and medium, second and 5 or less on this play here.
Second and 4. And that one was definitely tipped at the line. Travis Moore was the intended receiver there.
Well, you know, the Edmonton Eskimos just have a knack for knocking the ball down at the line of scrimmage. I think that was Randy Chevrier who gets his hand on that one. And he is right here, number 66, Randy Chevrier, getting to play for Steve Charbonneau. He's working upside on Andrew Green. He gets his left hand on it. You look at the knockdowns. Usually you talk about knockdowns and you'll talk defensive backs. They usually lead the league in knockdowns. Edmonton Eskimos, Abdullah Rahim has 5, Darian Boos 3 coming into this game. They have 3 tonight in that defensive line.
Paul McCallum will kick into the breeze for the first time. Winston October is deep, along with Corey Bailey.
Good job, Zarka.
McCallum averaging 41.7 yards a kick.
Into that wind, though.
Knows how to handle the wind better than most. But it's not all that deep, just 19 yards that time for McCallum. First and 10 Eskimos when we come back. Breeze United Taylor Field in Regina full tonight for the Eskimos and the Roughriders. At the rider bench, Kelvin Cron from CTV Regina.
Thanks, guys. Corey Holmes right now. The Riders feel like he's their biggest weapon, and he's unfortunately a spectator again tonight. Kenton Keith has done well, 88 yards in his first game, but they'd really like to have Corey Holmes in the lineup. He'll be back next week. They'd like to have him back because the Eskimos like to play so much man defense. They feel they could really utilize Corey Holmes tonight. Guys?
It'll be a first down for the Eskimos. Here, Ricky Ray with the win for the first time. Oh, almost. Davin Bush stepped in front of that. And he would have been gone.
The strength of this defense has been the secondary for a couple of years, and Davin Bush gets a tremendous break on this ball right at the top of your screen as he drops off one receiver and comes underneath of the other, and all he has to do now is hang on, and he's in the end zone.
Corey Bailey was the intended receiver, and Davin Bush could have been celebrating had he been able to hang on to that. Second and 10 Eskimos. At the Edmonton 53, shotgun for Ray, and it's whistled down.
And Ricky Ray had the perfect call.
A procedure call against the Eskimos again. That's a couple back-to-back.
Chris Morris is going to get called
Procedure.
again.
Edmonton, number 60, still second down.
And this time they got the number right, but they had the perfect call. There was blitz coming from the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Eddie Davis in the secondary, and they had Ed Hervey on a deep pattern. And Ricky Ray didn't have a chance to get rid of that one.
Second and 15 for the Eskimos now. Ray to his left. Has an open man briefly, and the coverage closed quickly. Ed Hervey was the intended receiver, and that was Omar Morgan moving in.
Yeah, Omar Morgan out on that corner. There's Omar Morgan. See how he lines up deep? That's the disguise. He's really giving Ricky Ray the feeling that he's going to stay way deep, and then he breaks back on that football on Ed Hervey as soon as Hervey turns out. So that's back-to-back big plays from the defense. Davin Bush and then Omar Morgan.
And that play drew a standing ovation. I suppose you could hear in the background a little bit the crowd here at Taylor Field enjoying a defensive play there to set up 3rd and 3 for the Eskimos. Nickerson to the 20. Again, the blackout is lifted, so all of Saskatchewan can watch their Roughriders tonight in a crowd of 26,000 on hand, 26,000 and a few.
Well, and if you're watching this one on TV and you get the sense of the atmosphere when it's packed house here in Taylor Field, and that Ottawa game might be a good idea, and there's been a lot to cheer about for the Saskatchewan fans. One, Nealon Green run into the end zone.
21-yard touchdown for Nealon Green, the only major of the game so far. Saskatchewan going into the win now after having the benefit of a northwest breeze at Rough Rider backs in the opening quarter. Green, nobody home on the far side.
And he took a big hit from Singor Mobley after the fact.
Travis Moore was the closest Rough Rider receiver.
Well, the coverage rotated over and Travis Moore fell on the play. So Nealon Green really had no option but to throw it outside, not out of bounds. And when he did, he took a big hit from Singor Mobley. Here comes Travis Moore. You get a good look at it right now. He breaks out. Daryl Crutchfield from the opposite side's coming in. Brady gives him a little pull. Down goes Moore. Ball goes out of bounds.
2nd and 10, Rough Riders at the Saskatchewan 20. Green to his right, throwing on the run. Complete this time to Corey Grant. Now Grant came back to get the ball. The spot will be critical. And it doesn't sound like Rough Rider fans like where the officials are putting the ball.
Well, first of all, Corey Grant had to come back to that ball because he had pretty good coverage on him to the right of your screen. It's going to be rollout again. So Saskatchewan Rough Riders continue to move that pocket around and see Grant coming back. He had Crutchfield right in his back pocket. And they're going to mark it just at the line, which may be just a tad short.
Inches to go for a first down. The Riders deep in their own zone. What does Danny Barrett do here? The Riders need to get across the 30-yard line.
But there, with just inches, you go ahead and go for it, and you take more time off the clock with the wind in your face. Especially when you've got quarterback and you've got Nealon Green with the great power in his legs to be able to just bowl forward in behind Jeremy O'Day, Andrew Green, and probably that right side of that offensive line.
Key here for Danny Barrett's squad is to stay onside and avoid any procedure calls.
Well, and the fumble.
And the fumble. No flags.
No problem.
First down, Saskatchewan. Nealon Green himself. Riders have run exceptionally well so far this season.
Well, yeah, when you get up in the 200s, you're really putting a show on running the football, and they've done that twice.
That was Nealon Green's game out against Winnipeg, right? The 45 yards rushing there.
Even if Nealon Green is not leading the team rushing in a particular game, his threat to the outside opens the middle for the running backs.
Green comes to the other side, and it's picked up, intercepted. Touchdown coming here. Donnie Brady had it tipped right into his hands. It was an easy catch.
Had the shovel play worked out, Nealon Green wanting to go to Kenton Keith underneath, number 28. He's going to just take this ball, and it's just a bad throw, and I'm not sure if the wind took it and carried a little high. There's Kenton Keith. He's going to slip underneath. Nealon Green fakes it to him. Now he wants to just dump it over the hands right there of Raheem Abdullah. It's a little bit behind Keith and into the hands of Brady, and he's gone.
And again, it's the pressure of that group up front forcing Nealon to throw, and the errant pass that time cost a 31-yard interception return for a touchdown, and the Eskimos are within 2 and 9-7. Donnie Brady's first interception of the season goes for 6. Donnie Brady with the interception and the return for a 31-yard touchdown to get the Eskimos right back in the ball game.
Donnie Brady got the goal. Raheem Abdullah got the helper.
Yeah, the little assist here.
He got the assist, and it's always a team game between the secondary, the linebacking core, and maybe most importantly, that front four. And the front four right now for Edmonton starting to provide some pressure. A couple of knockdowns for them early in the game. Now Raheem Abdullah gets the assist on an interception for a touchdown by Donnie Brady.
Kevin Nickerson returning for the Rough Riders. And actually tripped up by the first Eskimo upfield.
Show you Raheem Abdullah and what I mean by the assist and the helper from him on the Donnie Brady interception. Watch how well he plays this. He's going to step in at the run and then come outside and get in the face of Nealon Green. He's going to take care of the run from Kenton Keith. There's the fake. Now he steps outside, and because he's there in a hurry, Green has to actually throw it around his body, and when he does, the pass is off the mark, intercepted by Brady, and he finds the end zone.
Pressure up front, and the Eskimos have tipped a couple at the line already. It was an easy catch for Brady and a nice little run.
That's right, 3 knockdowns and a helper now.
And the helper.
And they have a knack for it. Raheem Abdullah and Dorian Boose. We've also seen Randy Chevrier get involved in the tip balls at the line of scrimmage, and pretty nice bookhands when you look at Raheem Abdullah and Dorian Boose.
This Dorian Boose is something special, runs extremely well. Had 1 sack last week, has 4 on the season.
Well, they say with Boose that he ranges between 280 and about 300, 310 pounds, which, and I'll double check this, but that would make him the biggest and arguably the strongest, most powerful defensive end in the CFL.
Now that range, is that week to week or what?
Well, yeah, it's week to week. Yeah, I guess it depends on the diet for Dorian Boose.
And how many days he has off in a week? If it's a busy week, he might not have time to get to the restaurant.
Well, when you look at this Edmonton defense, they look pretty good. And yards offense allowed, 275. You want to keep that under 300 is usually the goal for most defenses. And a low completion percentage. And again, that completion percentage, Greg Marshall has them working together with that great pass rush from the bookends. We saw Raheem Abdullah and Dorian Boose, and that helps the secondary so much. You can have, if you have a good pass rush, you can have an average secondary. If you have an if you have a bad pass rush and a good secondary, you're still going to lose.
Eskimos with 14 sacks on the season as well. Abdullah has 3. That's tied for second in the league. This is Kenton Keith escaping for precious yardage deep in the Saskatchewan zone. Halfway through the second quarter here, and a tight one between the Eskimos and the Roughriders.
Talk about Danny Barrett building this team over a 4-year period. Kenton Keith is a good example because of his 88 yards. Barrett has found some depth in the lineup in almost all positions, and that's allowed them to leave Corey Holmes on the sideline for one more game. Corey Holmes probably could have played in this one tonight.
But Kenton Keith had the 88 last week, and he has 9 on the carry just a second ago. Making that 2nd and 1, and Chris Zarka got the call there.
You know, and then Zarka's the other part of that, you know, of the running back picture. But Kenton Keith with those 88 yards, I mean, you get a running back who's playing in his first start. And that was Kenton Keith last week versus Hamilton. And every time he touched the ball, he got at least 8 yards.
He also had a spectacular touchdown run last week.
You know, that's pretty nice average. And that gave Danny Barrett the luxury to give Corey Holmes one more week to rest that turf toe.
That last one for the touchdown, and it looked like he was trapped in the middle of all those Tiger Cats there, but he got away. On first down, Green. Ooh, danger again as Zarka was the intended receiver.
Well, and you know, when you have that depth, you have Kenton Keith back there, and the ability to keep him on the roster, keep Corey Holmes, rest him up for another week. That'll help you down the stretch. And Kenton Keith becomes very important in this quarter for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and so does Chris Zarka. They have to move the ball and get some first downs when they're facing this wind.
And looking back all those years ago and through the Saskatchewan successful times, that a running back has always been a key to have that kind of success at Taylor Field. Over the middle, it's complete. Jackson has it.
That's a big one.
Mobley makes the tackle.
Well, Nealon Green, when he dropped back, you're going to take a look. Here's his receivers. Those are his targets. 3 to the right side of the formation and 2 to the opposite side. Covered, covered, covered. He has one little dump valve right there. He steps up, freezes the defensive lineman, and that's exactly where he has to dump the ball. That's good patience from Nealon Green.
And 14 yards for Quincy Jackson. 2 catches for 23 last week, 7 for 52 on the season for Jackson. Huge first down for Saskatchewan.
Oh, I don't know.
And a little danger there.
I don't know if that
Jackson was the intended receiver.
Well, I don't know, John, if that wasn't a little pass interference. That hit from Donnie Brady on Quincy Jackson looked like it came just a half step early. And we'll see if we can pick it up from the left of your screen. Look for number 7. Donnie Brady, number 26, came across the formation. Well, the ball was intended to Corey Grant on the outside. It looked from our angle in the booth that it might have gone across Quincy Jackson's hands.
Grant went high and actually
at 2 Grant.
Touched it on his fingertips. 2nd and 10. Shotgun for Nealon Green. Here comes the heat.
Watch out.
Green to the near side, and Crutchfield was there and waiting. Corey Grant was the intended receiver, but Daryl Crutchfield was lurking, was he not?
Well, John, I think Daryl Crutchfield got over there so quickly he couldn't believe his eyes. He's going to be right here in your screen. Watch how quickly he closes this ground. Now it's a long throw into the wind for Nealon Green. The ball's got to be out of there now. Green waits a little bit long. Crutchfield's there so early. He's looking there going, it can't be. Do I have a real chance at this football? Now he's going to tell everybody I should have put both hands up there and make the catch.
And Rider fans on the near sideline a little nervous about what just about transpired.
Well, that's another touchdown if he can hang on to that one.
Here's Paul McCallum standing at his 25 and into the breeze. His last punt only traveled 19 yards. This one is a little better, a little lower, and it gets by the Eskimos. No return for Winston October as Reggie Hunt led Saskatchewan tacklers there, and the return is limited to -4 after a 36-yard punt. Quarterbacking change for the Eskimos here. Ricky Ray will watch for a while.
Maybe that's why. Time of possession, Saskatchewan dominating 17-39 to 6-34. Ray hasn't got the football moving for this offense. Tom Higgins talking to him, probably saying, give you a series or 2 to watch from the sideline, then we'll probably throw you back in this game.
So that puts Bart Hendricks in behind the center, Tim Princeton, for this Eskimo first down at the 40. Mike Pringle around the left side. Nicely executed by Pringle and dragged down from behind. Grabbed by Jason Mallett.
Well, John, I was about to say when you're the defensive side of the football and you have chased a quarterback out of the game, it's a huge lift for your football team. And just as I said that, Mike Pringle went around the end for big yardage. So that's one way you can neutralize that feeling from the Saskatchewan defense, because you love to chase a quarterback out of the game.
And that was a wonderful run by Mike Pringle, covering 24 yards. And the Eskimos are now in Saskatchewan territory at the 45, first down. It's Pringle again. Hard running inside as he ran into Nate Davis and Shante Peoples.
Well, and you talk about the responsibility for those Saskatchewan front four in stopping the run and stopping Mike Pringle, and we've talked about Reggie Hunt and Jackie Mitchell, and that this would be a matchup. Here's the previous play on the outside. The responsibility of the defensive front four is to occupy all the blocks, all 5 offensive linemen. If those 4 defensive linemen can occupy the blocks, that allows the linebackers to float in football.
That time the Rider defense limited Pringle to a yard. This is Hervey, and he's cut down neatly by McCalla. Yeah. Superb defensive play. Strength of the Roughriders last couple of seasons has been the secondary. And McCalla, one of the best corners in the league.
Watch how quickly Ladolfius McCalla closes, and he's trying to go through the rub there from Terry Vaughn.
Whoa.
Terry Vaughn had to go up the field and tried to make it look to McCalla that he was going deep. McCalla wasn't biting, jumped up and cut down Ed Hervey.
So Sean Fleming is in. Got on 8 of 9 field goals on the season. His longest 45, 88.9%. This is a 47-yarder.
Good win.
Fleming has made 8 in a row. Number 9 is the unlucky one. McCalla will give up a single point. So the Eskimos creep a little closer, but a single is not what they were after. Taylor Field, Regina. It's Wendy's CFL Live from Montreal. Coming up on Tuesday, no good feeling between the Alouettes and the Blue Bombers after last night, so the rematch is Tuesday. Travis Moore couldn't bring that one down. What do you think about the rematch?
Well, it's going to be a different game, I'm sure. I know Dave Ritchie will have his team ready to play against the Montreal Alouettes, who dominated game one of that home and home, and the two coaches are even battling.
Dominate might be a polite way of saying it.
Two coaches are battling. You notice after the game what happened?
There was no handshake.
There was no handshake. I'm not sure what happened there, but certainly the rematch will be fun to watch.
This will be 2nd and 10 Riders at the 40. Green from the shotgun, thinking run all the way, and run he does. First down, and much more for Nealon Green, surrendering at about the 27 and wisely going down there. Boy, this opened up beautifully for Green, and a 43-yard run for Nealon Green. The Riders going into the wind, and Green has a way to make it go.
Jerry Modet at the big block. He's gone.
Closer look at a super call and a super run by Nealon Green.
Nice blocks up front. Going to be a little stunt from the Edmonton Eskimos up front, but watch how Jeremy O'Day picks it up nicely with Andrew Green. He puts a nice block right there on Randy Chevrier. That opens up the hole up the middle for Nealon Green, and then Green uses his great speed in the open field.
So the Roughriders are set up at the Eskimo 27. Kenton Keith for a couple. Raheem Abdullah making the stop there. Halftime just around the corner, 2:27 to go. In a great one at Taylor Field on Wendy's Friday Night Football, 9-8 as the Riders hang on.
John, this is a big drive for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The time that they are tearing up here with the wind at their face, and a huge run from Nealon Green. That's his biggest play of the game.
He called it at exactly the right time, and this pass play works well too. Matt Dominguez, number 88, slanting in on 2nd down, and we'll see where the spot goes for Saskatchewan here. Dominguez seems happy about it, and it will be a first down.
It's good timing on the throw from Nealon Green. A couple of steps back, and then he just gets it out of there. He waits for Matt Dominguez to open up in the window. There's windows across the coverage. One window from the outside in the corner. That's the first one, and then you get to the linebacker and inside. That's another window. He hit him in that first window.
Danny Barrett's Roughriders going into a stiff breeze at Taylor Field. And the team in green and white is in a cut situation. Green, the touchdown toss, yes. Travis Moore barely across the line, and Nealon Green put it right in his hands. A beautiful play to finish off the drive. And it was all Nealon Green with a huge run. Couple of passes, and then calmly finding Travis Moore.
Well, John, he does such a nice job. He showed everything that Nealon Green is capable of doing in that series. Number one, he had the nice run. Number two, good timing pass and a hard throw to Matt Dominguez to set it up. And then Green was able to read the blitz and hit Travis Moore in the end zone.
16-yard touchdown for Travis Moore. It's his 4th as a Saskatchewan Roughrider.
Here's the great read from Nealon Green. He knows he has to get the football out of there. There's Singor Mobley. Here he comes, along with Kelvin Powell in the middle. Blitz is on. He knows there's going to be a free man. It's Randy Chevrier. I got to throw the ball before Chevrier gets to me. He gets it out of there. Travis Moore has himself another touchdown. The key, John, is Moore has to read it as well, and he gets inside position on Robert Grant. Nealon Green, John, used all 3 phases of his game in that series against the wind. Phase number 1, and one he's most famous for, his ability to run the football in the open field and use his legs to create opportunities.
40 plus here.
Number 2, The quick throw on the outside to Matt Dominguez. A nice hard throw and good timing to set up the touchdown. And the biggest question mark on Nealon Green was, could he read the blitz?
And he does here on the toss to Travis Moore for his 4th touchdown of the season. And Moore, the veteran that he is, found just a little opening there. But it was enough.
Well, Nealon Green showed us a little bit of everything in that series. And I think he is quickly establishing himself one more time with Henry Burris on his way to Saskatchewan. Hey, I earned the right to be the starter, and I'm going to keep the starting job, and he's done a tremendous job so far tonight.
Well, and the fans have been appreciative of just about everything that Nealon Green has done this evening, in spite of the fact that when we were here on Sunday and walked up the stands at Taylor Field, everybody was asking, when is Henry Burris coming to town? So it's a huge story in Saskatchewan that Burris has agreed to rejoin the Roughriders after his stint in the National Football League. And the Riders have a thought process on this that they will only be stronger with an even better quarterbacking grouping.
Yeah, and they will. Because
it's not a tandem anymore, it's a grouping because they've got 4. Winston October tries to get the Eskimos decent field position. Saskatchewan's special teams doing a pretty nice job as Kennedy Nikiasen is over to make the tackle. Tom Higgins trying to rally the troops, and he'll send Ricky Ray back out onto the field.
John, that last drive by Nealon Green took close to 2 minutes off the clock, and again, Saskatchewan dominating in the time of possession. Remember, Edmonton has the win. That was the one series that Ricky Ray sits out to watch from the sideline. Let's see if it helps.
1:38 for the Eskimos till halftime. With the breeze at their backs, Ray stands in. He has Terry Vaughn. Jackie Mitchell was covering Vaughn and made the tackle.
Well, and they certainly have the weapons in that offensive side of the football. Jason Tucker, Terry Vaughn, we just saw with the catch. Tucker's back in the lineup. He can do it all underneath and can go over the top. And if you really need a deep threat, why not just tell Ed Hervey to go from A to B in a straight line, and I'll just throw it up and Ed Hervey will go get it for you.
Ed Hervey wearing sweater number 6 tonight, this occasion only. Terry Vaughn, always over 1,000 yards, comes up a little shy of the first down there, not by much. 8 times for Terry Vaughn over 1,000.
John, I asked Ed Hervey who he thought, and I said, you got to take yourself out of the mix, because you know how that works.
Can't vote for yourself.
Can't vote for yourself. Who do you think are the best receivers in the CFL this year? He said Milt Stegall, Terry Vaughn, Daryl Mitchell, and he said because of longevity. They've done it year in, year out.
Here's Ricky Ray on 2nd and 1, and he'll lose yardage. Wrapped up.
Got kind of crowded up there, didn't it?
It certainly did. Nate Davis will get credit for this sack on Ricky Ray. And really, it's huge. With 1:11 to go, the Eskimos were sitting there looking at 2nd down, less than a yard necessary. The sack takes them out of range for a gamble here.
Omar Morgan covered on one side, and then you see Tucker trying to find an opening over the middle, but it got awful crowded in a hurry on Ricky Ray as they loaded up front. That big defensive line one more time. Saskatchewan defensive line coming in this game, 16 sacks. That's all. They had 16 all of last year.
Kevin Nickerson looking for one big return to cap off a real fine opening half for the hometown Roughriders. 46 seconds to go. Saskatchewan with a 66-yard drive for a touchdown and a 70-yard drive into the wind. Montreal had a field day sacking quarterbacks last night in Winnipeg.
9.
So that kind of helps out.
Yeah,
helps out Purolator as well.
That vote that pushed them right to the top of the list. But I mentioned the Saskatchewan Roughriders now have 17, 16 coming into this game. Last year, the entire season they had 16. A huge improvement from a year ago. Nate Davis having a great season. And you can see they're on pace for bigger and better things in that defensive line.
Kenton Keith for a couple, and again, Purelator contributing the quarterback's weight in food to the Regina Food Bank for every sack in this one tonight. Dave Davis coming into the game with 5 sacks.
Well, you look at this Saskatchewan Roughrider team
my baby,
right now
my baby
after half
girl,
of football.
Taking Day loves you, baby. We'll be home soon. Love you guys.
You know, and I never have a problem with deferring the microphone to Nate Davis.
No, and he's kissing too.
Well,
he's blowing kisses there.
Well, you know, at 320 pounds, he can talk anytime he wants to talk. But you know, for Tom Higgins, this is basically not the start he wanted, simply because he's got a packed house, hostile environment, and when he has had the wind and the football, he hasn't been able to move it. In fact, it's been the opposite. Saskatchewan Roughriders had a 70-yard drive into the wind in this quarter.
You look at the play that the Eskimos had with 2nd down and less than a yard to go, and they decided to look deep on that play. Prove costly before this is over. Nealon Green sliding safely, and that'll be another Saskatchewan 1st down. It should be enough to take all the time off the clock the Roughriders would like to, and go to the dressing room with an 8-point lead.
And John, you know, Danny Barrett using that quarterback sneak again, and very effective tool for him offensively. Look for the Edmonton Eskimos in the 2nd half to make an adjustment to that. And one way to do it is to have a spy. And you take like a Calvin Powell, or maybe you take a Singor Mobley or a Glenn Young, probably Powell or Mobley, and Greg Marshall might just have him spy Nealon Green.
That takes a few more seconds off the clock. 14 seconds remaining now.
And you know, that's one way to try and track Nealon Green, so that you always have one guy one-on-one on. Mobley would be a perfect fit simply because he's so athletic and quick, and you're going to need somebody like that to track Nealon Green. Now, if you do that, the downside is you take either Kelvin Powell or Singor Mobley out of the pass defense, because now he's up there in the line of scrimmage tracking the quarterback. He can't drop back and get underneath coverage. But Greg Marshall will likely go to it because Nealon Green is hurting him running the football.
There's the final play, and the opening half is complete. Saskatchewan Roughriders dominating, but look at the scoreboard, Glenn, and there's a long way to go in this one. It is only an 8-point advantage for Danny Barrett and company on Wendy's Friday Night Football.
Yeah, John, it's only an 8-point disadvantage for Edmonton, but Saskatchewan dominating almost every statistical category in that opening half of football. Remember, Saskatchewan's 2 losses came by a combined total of 3 points. They wanted to make a statement tonight against the top team in the West. So far, so good. Let's start by talking about the quarterbacks, because that was a very interesting half for quarterback watching.
Oh, it was extremely interesting watching Nealon Green again attack like an insurgent, pick the defense apart with his arm and his legs. But on the other side of the ball, Ricky Ray was having problems. And when he got pulled in that game, he went to the sidelines, and it wasn't a pretty picture for the Edmonton Eskimos. Look at what I'm talking about here. Just look at the arm cross right here. That's not a good sign. Look where Ricky Ray is looking here. He's looking out this way. Look where Jason Moss is looking. They're not listening to coach. Whatever coach is saying is going in one ear and out the other. Now, on the other side of the football, look at this. This is impressive. You've got all 3 quarterbacks right here. There's Butler. He's listening. You've got Glenn. He's listening. You've got Green. He's listening. Hell, you even got a receiver. He's listening. Completely different camps right there and what's going on. To me, it kind of depicts what's happening in this football game here. One team is having success. In fact, Schulte, Nealon Green and their offense is dominating the time of possession, Schulte, and I think the looks on the quarterback's faces really show the
You know why they're dominating? Because they're listening. I mean, that says a lot right there when you look at that body language, because body language doesn't lie in moments like that. I think this has been a great half for the Riders, but there's an issue here. Because when you start replacing players, the thing you want as a player to go in, number 1, don't be afraid to make mistakes. And number 2, if you're having a problem, you have to have the confidence to work through it. So I don't know if I agree with Coach Higgins. He knows a lot more about football than I do, but I wouldn't take that quarterback out.
Yeah, and the quarterbacks are having a tough time, partly due to the fact that the Saskatchewan defensive backs are having a fantastic game. And we're going to have a look exactly what they're doing to confuse Ricky Ray, which led to him being pulled. Now, we're going to watch this pattern develop. And right now, Ricky Ray thinks he's got his wide receiver wide open right here. And he thinks he's also got man coverage. What he doesn't realize is that Davin Bush is going to come off his man because he's actually in zone and drive to the flat and make the play on the ball. Great defense. And now, a couple of plays later, it looks like the same defense. And Ricky Ray's thinking, okay, it's zone. No, wait, it's man. And all of a sudden, we see Omar Morgan right here working on Ed Hervey, doing a great job coming out of his break, driving on the football, and breaking up the comeback pattern. This is a defensive secondary for the Saskatchewan Roughriders that is firing on all cylinders, David.
I think the whole team right now is firing on all cylinders. Saskatchewan looks great in front of a big crowd at home, and they're being led by Nealon Green. There's his second rushing touchdown of the season. He's having another big night, playing very well for the green and white. Last night on TSN, we had a doubleheader for you. In Game 1, Montreal and Anthony Calvillo just shredded the Bombers on their home turf, 50-19. They'll meet again on Tuesday next week. And Ottawa loses in BC. Dave Dickinson, the big story there, because he was very effective for while he was in there. The latest on Dickinson is this. They feel it's a broken finger, the ring finger on his non-throwing hand. The ring finger on his non-throwing hand, but he had to leave the game because he couldn't take the snaps. He'll be examined tomorrow by doctors, and then they'll make a decision whether or not he's going to play Friday in Toronto. What did you guys see last night?
Well, you know, obviously Montreal Alouettes are at the top of their game, and right now they've proved why they are the defending Grey Cup champions. But, you know, we were looking at this defense that Montreal's running and thinking, when is someone going to solve them? Schultz, and we're watching this, and they're blitzing, and Winnipeg just continues to go five-step and try to throw the ball until someone figures it out.
Well, I don't know if it's an offensive line coach that figures it out. I don't know if it's a coordinator that figures it out, but there is a vulnerability, and that's the one-on-one opportunities. But the bottom line is Montreal is so confident right now. They got those kids coming so hard off the edge. Quarterbacks just don't have time. And when you burn them one time, the second time you get whacked. So it's a confidence issue. Matthews gets those quarterbacks and he destroys their confidence.
Well, he's been doing it a long time. In 1983, I came in the league. We were trying to solve Don Matthews' defenses, and nothing's changed. Back then, it was bastardized fronts, bringing the backers over and jetting them too wide to the field. And then it was a scenario now where he's just bringing more than you have in order to block. But I think it's all about protection. I think you got to slide protect, know where the backside man's coming free, get the quarterback hard onside, get him away from the line of scrimmage, and get the ball off. What that does gives the quarterback a little more opportunity as opposed to sitting in the pocket, having your back catch him in the backfield, having this guy come free. You got to step up. Get a little technical here, but I'm telling you, you've got to move the quarterback. And then, to me, that's the way you handle it.
Hire this man. Somebody, quick.
Somebody, please stop him. There's another quarterback in BC. Wally Buono has got his team on a 4-game win streak. So far, the only touchdown Edmonton has scored has been from their defense, 16-8 at the half. And with the technical, deep analysis of the halftime numbers, here's Chris Schultz.
Well, my theory on football holds. If you have the big numbers, you're going to win the game. On the right-hand side is all the big numbers. That's why Saskatchewan's winning the game. And the biggest number, the time of possession. Look at that. Look at that, Matt. That is amazing, and that's why Saskatchewan is winning.
Big numbers.
Big numbers.
Little numbers. Kelvin Cron spoke with Riders head coach Danny Barrett.
Danny, your thoughts on the first half?
Solid job, all three phases. If you take away the tip interception there, we're pitching a shutout. And our defense got to continue to play big, especially the third quarter is going to be key because they're going to have the win.
Important that you guys were able to drive against the wind here in the second quarter.
Exactly right. And that was a great job of Nealon directing the offense, using his legs and standing in the pocket versus the blitz and finding Travis. And we need the same type of effort in the third quarter from our offense.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, we'll wait and see if the Riders can shut down the Eskimos or if Edmonton's going to come hard. Second half is next.
1, 2, 3, showtime!
Long way to go, but Danny Barrett is happy with all three phases of his team's performance in the opening half. Let's go down to Ray Morrison at the other bench.
Tom, an interesting half, some penalties, took the ball out of your hands once, kept the ball in their hands a few times. You answered back with a big interception. Now you have to again?
Well, you know what? We gotta get some establish some offense, get some first downs. Wind will be a factor. We'll probably have the ball in the wind, so the third quarter is going to be big. Try to win the third quarter and just settle down. Play football.
What'd you say to your team here at the break?
Relax. Let's go on out and play the way we're capable.
Yeah, nice.
You're welcome.
That's more like it, Glenn. An 8-pointer at halftime.
Yeah, and it's going to be outcome of this game determined in the next half of football. It's interesting to see Danny Barrett, Tom Higgins saying he told his players at halftime to just go out and relax and play football. You saw Danny Barrett when he came out just a few seconds ago. He was smiling on the sideline, talking to his team, and it seems like the Saskatchewan Roughriders are a very relaxed team right now.
And a very solid first half for the Roughriders with a couple of drives for touchdowns. Most importantly, that 70-yard drive by Nealon Green into the wind that he finished off with a touchdown toss to Travis Moore. Here's how the quarterbacks stack up.
Well, you know, we've seen Ricky Ray. That's probably his worst half of football as an Edmonton Eskimo. On the other side of the coin, Nealon Green, 122 yards passing, and maybe more importantly, closing in on 100 yards rushing.
And the one error for Nealon Green, the interception, went for 6. So the Eskimo offense has not been able to really do a whole bunch so far at Taylor Field.
And you wonder if Ricky Ray is right at this point having some problems handling the wind here in Taylor Field. Hasn't had a whole lot of opportunity to play in this building, and the wind can swirl, comes from different directions, and usually only the home team knows exactly which direction it's coming from.
Well, you have to have the direct line to the weather office.
That's right.
In Regina to find out exactly when the wind is going to blow too, which is a factor as well.
It's called
if a storm is coming in.
It's called home field advantage, buddy.
Check it out at the weather office. A breezy night at Taylor Field, but we're used to that. And so are the Saskatchewan Roughriders and legends who have played the game here. Both the Eskimos and the Roughriders coming off victories over the struggling Hamilton Tiger Cats. Mike Pringle had a great week against Hamilton in his last outing as he chases George Reed in several categories, including total yards, which is a few away. But Mike Pringle with 107 touchdowns. George Reed holds the record there.
Back when Taylor Field had natural grass and Ron Lancaster was handing it off to big number 34 here at Taylor Field, Mike Pringle just passed George Reed for 100-yard rushing games. 67 as of last week. George Reed had 66 in his career.
From 1963 to 1975.
And Mike Pringle should pass George Reed if all things considered he stays healthy and can stay in the Edmonton Eskimo lineup and keep playing at the level that he's playing at right now. Should pass George Reed sometime about Labor Day next year.
41 yards for Mike Pringle in the opening half, and he'll be called upon, one would guess, quite frequently by the Eskimos, who trail by 8 points here as the second half is underway. Winston October with a penalty marker down, and so is October near the 35. Kennedy Nikiasen leading the Saskatchewan tacklers there again.
There is the all-time list for rushing yards. 14,345 for Mike Pringle. 41 tonight, and he'd have a lot more if he got the ball a lot more.
Yeah, they may have to think about giving it to him, particularly in the fourth quarter. But the Eskimos do have the wind at their backs here to begin the second half.
And I think it's just fantastic that Mike Pringle, if he does stay healthy, will break George Reed's record wearing number 34.
He is a wonderful physical specimen. There's no question about that. And one of the great memories for Mike Pringle here at Taylor Field was that Grey Cup game in 1995, won by his Baltimore Stallions. Pringle gets the call, and Eskimos were not able to keep the Saskatchewan front seven at bay. Andrew Brown, Shante Peoples.
Well, and you know, the defense really shut that down, but you got to love the determination of Mike Pringle. And if anyone is going to break George Reed's record. Maybe Pringle might be one of the great ones to do it just because of the intensity that he brings to this game. Mike Pringle is what football is all about and the way football should be played.
On second down, Ricky Ray is in trouble, looks to get out of it. Oh, an incredible tackle by Reggie Hunt. He has been sensational in his last 3 games. Thinking back to the interception of Danny McManus at that end of the field, and then the 16 tackles for a CFL record against the Blue Bombers the week before that.
Showed blitz, walked out of there, got into coverage, and not only that, got up and corralled Ricky Ray. He did it all on the play. Showed blitz, dropped into coverage, took the pass away from Terry Vaughn, and then flew up there and made the tackle on the quarterback.
Couple of sacks for the Roughriders tonight. Fleming lifts this high. Kevin Nickerson sidesteps a couple, running in heavy traffic, but he's across midfield. Roger Reinson made the tackle, 17 on the return after a 60-yard kick. So far, Saskatchewan's offense and Nealon Green winning this showdown tonight.
This is the biggest play of the game so far for Nealon Green. A big run that started out a nice drive against the wind. This set up the touchdown coming up on the next play right here.
Dominguez made the catch there. Nealon read the blitz and found Travis Moore for the touchdown toss. First down, Saskatchewan. Nickerson coming around again and almost broke it for more substantial yardage there.
Kevin Nickerson was pulled down hard there by Glenn Young, and the flag came out immediately.
Prairie sunset. It's been a wonderful day in southern Saskatchewan.
And a very good football game. Was sold out Taylor Field. And they've watched their Saskatchewan Roughriders fight for a 16-8 lead so far, and threatening again.
First down, Roughriders. Nealon Green near side, a little high, and brought down by Travis Moore again. Forced out by Darryl Crutchfield.
This is the first step. Travis Moore, get him to work outside. He's going to run this quick out right here. You've got a layer in behind him and a deep pattern up top. Now, if the coverage starts to jump Travis Moore, the idea is just throw it in behind Moore to Kevin Nickerson, number 86, who's flying down the deep side of the field.
Gain of 6, 2nd and 4, Saskatchewan just outside the 25 of the Eskimos. Nealon Green fired in a hurry. Dominguez was the target. Malcolm Frank was covering, and the pass was a little low.
Edmonton has to make something happen, and the way they're going to do that is to come with some more pressure. Calvin Powell in the middle. You see that's Donnie Brady from the secondary, and off the edge here, that allows Dorian Boos to come free. So Greg Marshall's answer to Nealon Green is to plug the holes with some linebackers and send some pressure, especially on second down.
A 33-yard attempt by Paul McCallum. It'll be spotted at the 34. Flags go down. McCallum is wide. Winston October likes to take it out. October has room on the far side, lost the ball. Who touched it going out of bounds?
Well, now, first of all, John, there's a flag right on the line of scrimmage, the field goal. If this is offside against Edmonton and they jump, it's first down Saskatchewan.
Flag definitely went down before McCallum kicked it wide.
And that Rider offense coming on the field right now.
First down.
It is first down.
Right in the middle of your screen, Dorian Boos, number 91, jumped into the neutral zone, put his hand down, and did not get back in time.
So this will give the Roughriders one more opportunity to continue this drive. And again, this is the Eskimos' quarter.
That's right.
Edmonton has the breeze. Nealon Green on first down. Cannon Keith, big run for a touchdown last week. Can he get there again? Not quite. Out at about the 3. Just about turned the corner for another sensational touchdown run.
Well, this offensive line in Saskatchewan love to run block, don't they? And they do it well. Maybe as good as it gets in the CFL as far as run blocking for their running backs. And it doesn't seem to matter who it is, Cedric Saw, Corey Holmes, or the newcomer Kenton Keith. And on the short side of the field, it's always the same. Andrew Green and Gene Makowski. And Andrew Green and Makowski, look at the hole they open up for Keith. They love to run block up there. They can attack.
Here are the Hogs, a close-up look. And it's first down and goal to go Saskatchewan again. Zarka, touchdown. Chris Zarka. 3rd touchdown of the year. Difficult guy to bring down when he gets ahead of steam. Zarka, the new Mr. Roughrider in so many ways, because he epitomizes what Saskatchewan football is all about, doesn't he?
Well, he does, John, and top credit goes to this offensive line on that drive, but not only that drive, but some real nice blocking up front when Nealon Green took off with the football.
Riders drive for another touchdown into a stiff breeze at Taylor Field. Chris Zarka takes it home, the final 3 yards, and the Rough Riders open a more commanding lead at 23-8. Chris Zarka finishes off a 52-yard drive with a nice 3-yard run.
Chris Zarka, the only back in the backfield for Nealon Green. He takes that option right up the middle, and Singor Mobley has no chance.
Zarka's 3rd touchdown. He had 5 last year. And the kickoff goes down to the 5. Winston October tries to make something happen for the Eskimos here. Around the first wave of tacklers and brought down short of the 30. McCullough was there.
John, I want to give credit to that offensive line, and it's not just this play for the touchdown. What about the play for Kenton Keith? Great hole for Keith to burst through. He is untouched till he gets in the secondary. Mobley can't bring him down. He almost gets in there. And watch how O'Day here, and again, Andrew Green collapse the center of that defensive line, wash him all the way down. So Zarka once again in the linebacking core before any contact is made.
This place is alive right now with the Rough Riders on top, 23-8. Ricky Ray tries to stage the comeback, and this time the Riders knock one down. Andre Brown.
John, that 13th player is now big time involved in this game. Because now with the running ability, and you see in the offensive line play well, now the defensive line wants to get involved. Nice knockdown right there at the line of scrimmage. That one knocked away Ricky Ray. Now this crowd is involved in a big way, and that's the 13th man here in Taylor Field.
A full house. It's sold out at Taylor Field tonight, and all of Saskatchewan is watching with the blackout lifted. 2nd and long. Ricky Ray needs 10 yards. Takes once, has a completion, and it'll be enough for a first down. Out of bounds. Scott Robinson.
And that one play right there has quieted this crowd just a little bit. But watch how Ricky Ray has to use his hands in the shotgun. He steps up, big leg lift, and then he brings his hands forward very deliberately to receive the football because he can't call the cadence loud enough to his center, Tim Princeton.
And before Ray is out over the ball, they throw a flag.
And that will help Ricky Ray.
Edmonton, 13 men in the huddle, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
So the Eskimos got a little confused and had 13 on the field.
Well, I was going to say, that'll help Ricky Ray if it's against the Riders, because it'll help to keep the crowd quiet one more time, because if they start getting loud again, it's tough for the quarterback, especially in the shotgun, to call not only the cadence, but to make adjustments on the line of scrimmage.
against the Eskimos. 10 more yards. 1st and 20 for Ricky Ray here. Onto the cover, and Terry Vaughn makes the catch.
Yeah, and the Riders will give him that one, John. Especially
halfway back.
They'll give you that dump pass underneath, and Terry Ray, well, his thought there is I'll drop it off to Terry Vaughn, and he is the best in the business at making people miss. Maybe he can break one for me. If not, we're in second. We've made up half the yardage in second down. But once again, he has to not only come back in this football game from a deficit, he's losing time with the wind at his back, and now the crowd's a factor.
Those numbers are not typical for Ricky Ray, and he looks at 2nd and 9 here. But he has time, and he'll get the first down. Out across midfield. Jason Tucker's first catch of the night.
Show you that leg lift. It looks kind of different from the quarterback position to see that leg come up so drastically. Watch how Ricky Ray, as he comes to the line of scrimmage, number 15 right here. Now, see that big left leg. The reason he does that is to be able to get the ball and everybody stay on side without actually calling the cadence out. Now, a couple of plays, and this crowd still trying to get it in Ricky Ray's head.
Ray has the first down. Saskatchewan side of the 55. And running is not easy against the Saskatchewan defense for Mike Pringle every time. Scott Schultz was there and waiting.
One of the challenges for this defense, and Richie Hall to the right corner of your screen challenged this linebacking core and said, you know, at times people have talked about us not being very good against the run. Coming into this game, they were ranked 7th. This would be the game that you could silence the critics with Pringle in the backfield for Edmonton.
2nd down. Under the cover, and Ed Hervey makes the catch.
And
Hervey coming back to make the catch for another Eskimo first down.
And Richie Hall, of course, concerned with Mike Pringle, especially with his production over the last 2 games, but he also has to deal now with Ricky Ray, who's starting to find a groove with those receivers. So now Reggie Hunt, rather than become a run stopper, he has to drop back and get underneath and help in that passing game.
Another 10-yard gain for the Eskimos, who move to the Saskatchewan 42. Nice fake to Pringle, and Ray takes off himself. Short of the first down by about a yard far side. Counted 9 yards for Ricky Ray.
Oh, Reggie
set it up
Hunt
with a nice fake.
Reggie Hunt bought this bad boy in a big way. Watch him come around the corner thinking this ball is going to Mike Pringle the whole way. He thinks Mike Pringle has the ball. He still thinks he has the ball. He has to look up and go, he doesn't. He doesn't have the ball. How do you think Hunt's he's fired up to stop Mike Pringle? I guess.
2nd down, less than a yard to go for the Eskimos. And Ray carries himself. It'll be a first down, Edmonton, across the 30.
I mean, you come in here as a defense ranked 7th in the league against the run. Mike Pringle, the Edmonton Eskimos, is coming off 200-yard games in a row. And you can bet that Reggie Hunt all week long has been thinking about nothing to number 34, watching him on game film. Probably put his picture up on the mirror in his house. Said, yeah, baby, it's going to be you and I tonight.
They didn't see each other a whole bunch because Pringle was out for most of last season. A little shovel pass, and no one was home.
Well, Kevin Lefstrid, I'm almost certain, was not the intended receiver. But what happened was, I think either Mike Pringle lined up on the wrong side of the formation or ended up out there too far because he got out there too quick. And again, you got to wonder about the crowd noise. Look at the leg kick there. See Pringle get out of there so quickly. Ricky Ray wanted the shovel pass to Pringle, and he wasn't available. Well, you also see Terry Vaughn right there, and Terry Vaughn was tied up.
So longest drive of the night for the Eskimos, 10th play of the drive. 2nd and 10. Shotgun for Ray. Looking for Hervey, and there's heavy traffic down there. No flags anywhere. No flags. And Hervey wasn't complaining too loudly, was he? Davin Bush was covering and Jason Mallett there too.
Well, and that was the key, because Davin Bush had tons of help from Jason Mallett, number 21. Look what Jason Mallett lines up. He's got a long way to travel if he wants to help on the corner pattern that's coming right here from Ed Hervey. See how far he goes? He goes all the way across the numbers to the outside. He's right there to help out Davin Bush from the halfback spot.
Sean Fleming missed from 47 earlier. He's got this one from 37. So that Saskatchewan defense hangs in there, Glenn.
Well, it was a better drive for Edmonton, but the defense did in the end.
Storm clouds all around Taylor Field tonight, but so far the rain has held off for the game itself. BC at Toronto, Saskatchewan at Calgary. That's the doubleheader on Wendy's Friday Night Football 1 week from tonight. Great to see young Roughrider fans. And they've already got their opinion as to who should be the quarterback. But Nealon Green has done a marvelous job so far tonight, scrambling to get outside again. He won't get around the corner this time. Kelvin Powell was with him stride for stride.
Remember, we talked about just going in at halftime. Greg Marshall may try and spy Nealon Green, and it looked like Calvin Powell did just that on this one. Calvin Powell was all over the field tracking down Nealon Green no matter where he went. So I'll watch that closely and see if that's the game plan from Greg Marshall to try and slow down Nealon Green's running ability.
Green lost a yard. 2nd and 11. And again, tipped at the line. Matt Dominguez was the intended target. But those big Eskimo defensive linemen get their hands on another one.
Yeah, and both quite the war in the trenches here in this one for both offensive and defensive lines of the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Edmonton Eskimo defensive line, who've made their share of plays as well.
4:42 remaining third quarter. October is deep. McCallum standing back at his 20. Into the wind, the average has been affected a little bit by about 5 yards.
Let's go, guys. Let's keep that energy. Let's keep that energy.
Pretty good kick into a stiff breeze. Winston October across his 35. This is a nice run. Across the 45 and out to almost midfield. Simon Bufful making the tackle. From the 52, Eskimos 1st and 10. Ricky Ray takes off. He'll have the first down. He's hammered from behind by Shawnee Peoples. And the Eskimo quarterback is up in a hurry, but he took a pounding from number 56.
He gets hit much more like that by Shawnee Peoples, and Ricky Ray is going to be roadkill on a prairie highway, because he doesn't see Shawnee Peoples coming, and here we go. That's solid, folks.
I said 56. It's obviously 58, the number of that truck. They ran into Ricky Ray from behind after he picked up the first down. The Eskimos in a hurry-up situation here. Mike Pringle trying the left side, and he's wrapped up.
Scott
Schultz, number 96.
Scott Schultz and Nate Davis are really controlling the middle of that line of scrimmage right now. They've made a couple of nice plays back-to-back. Shawnee Peoples getting involved as well. And remember, Edmonton Eskimos have 250 and counting with the wind at their backs. And then the whole field position game changes in favor of the green and white.
Eskimos really need a major here, trailing 23-11, and this penalty might be going against Edmonton again.
Singer Mobley doesn't think so.
No, he certainly doesn't. He's got it figured out.
Let's go. Let's go, Swerve. Come on.
Little early movement detected, I think, from Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan 98.
Nate Davis was called. You always wonder if there was some small movement on the offensive line to draw Nate Davis off, but not on that instance. It was Nate Davis offside.
And that's really critical for the Eskimos to keep this drive going, looking at 2nd down here. 2nd and 6 at the Roughrider 43. Ricky Ray. Oh, man. Fine defensive play on the pass intended for Ed Hervey, and Omar Morgan stepped in front.
They just break so quickly, John, from the secondary. It just Omar Morgan, Eddie Davis is the veteran back there, Ladavius McCallum. They've all taken their turn at making big plays. Jason Mallett also, and Davin Bush. But watch this break. Downhill, Omar Morgan gets there before the ball arrives to Ed Hervey.
So Fleming is in to try a 50-yard field goal. He's 50-50 tonight. Hit from 37. This with his wind-assisted field goal there. And that will be getting the Eskimos 3 points closer at 23-14. Nealon Green has had a hot hand. 21-yard touchdown.
He could throw the ball as well. Made a nice read on the blitz. Hit Travis Moore for a touchdown.
In between two Eskimos. And then on a nice drive that covered 52 yards, Zarka finishes it off with a 3-yard run. Green himself faking at that time, and Glenn Young wasn't buying any of it.
And remember, the Edmonton touchdown was scored when Nealon Green had a problem with one throw in the first half, was scored by the Edmonton defense.
Interception by Donnie Brady for a 31-yard touchdown. They've got the Eskimos within 2 at 9-7. Second and 10, Green to his right. And electing to just throw that one away with no one open. Matt Dominguez, the closest receiver there, but there was too much pressure on Nealon Green that time.
But it's a good decision from Nealon Green and he can make that kind of decision because his defense is playing so well right now. I mean, there is just 1 minute and 8 seconds left with Edmonton Eskimos with the wind at their back, and this defense playing pretty well. In fact, they're pitching a shutout when it comes to majors.
Winston October back near his 40. Corey Bailey is also back there. McCallum taking all the time he possibly can. Kicking this one into the breeze. Pretty good kick away. Winston October. Whoa! 4 Roughriders were right there waiting for October's return. And look at the celebration by the special teams guys down there. Jocelyn Frenette.
That was called a Rider Hoagie.
Wendy's CFL Live. Blue Bombers and the Alouettes, the rematch. Two teams that don't like each other a whole bunch. The Owls with the best record in the CFL, improving to 5-1 last night in Winnipeg. The Bombers dropping to 4-2. So they'll get together again Tuesday at Molson Stadium in Montreal. Terry Vaughn, the intended receiver there. And that sets up this game rather well tonight with the Bombers dropping back and BC winning last night. There's a tie for top place in the West. The winner tonight will move into a tie at 4-2 with the Blue Bombers and the Lions. Edmonton and Saskatchewan coming into this one both at 3-2.
Little surprise, John, in this quarter. Ricky Ray hasn't run the hurry-up offense and called the plays on the line of scrimmage.
He's running out of time with the wind. Might be his final play with the advantage at his back. Complete there to Corey Bailey, but he's short of a first down. it would appear.
And they are going to move it to the third down, and it looks like they'll have one more play with the wind at the back, and it'll be one that they're going to have to punt. But it's a good. This is a good play for the Edmonton Eskimos and a good decision, because Tom Higgins has one more play with the wind. Send the punt team on, grab the field position now, rather than try to gamble at this point, because it's a long yard, almost 2. You got the wind at your back, and maybe get a good punt off here.
Yeah, he'll hope that Fleming sails this one and pins the Roughriders deep inside the 10. Won't get it away. Eskimos failed to wait for the play to be whistled in.
Please reset the clock to read 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
The officials are official. I mean, they're very official, and they get those 2 seconds back on the clock before we snap the ball, and away we go.
Fleming apparently a little over anxious. High kick with the breeze, coming down at the 11-yard line. Kevin Nickerson has about 4 yards on the return.
That worked out well for the Edmonton Eskimos. Got that field position with the wind at their back, but it's an uphill battle.
1 quarter to go. The Eskimos have the wind in the 4th quarter, and they also have a 23-14 lead for Saskatchewan.
9 points heading into that 4th quarter, John, and did they ever look good? Are they ever pumped up in front of that big crowd? We've been saying that all night long, but they deserve it. One of the things that we were talking about in the pregame show was Edmonton's offensive attack, specifically the running game, but nothing's going right for them on the offensive side of the ball overall.
No, that's pretty characteristic of Danny Machocha's offenses. And I played in it in Montreal, and he's brought it to Edmonton. And it's very reliant on the running game. And Mike Pringle right now is being held in check by that Saskatchewan defense. So that's the first story of this football game. The second story, as far as I'm concerned, is the Saskatchewan defensive backs. They are playing a lot of man-to-man coverage, and they are simply shutting down a very talented group of receivers, Chris.
That is everything, and I couldn't agree with you more, because we see Ricky Ray, things happening to him that we never see as quarterback with the Edmonton Eskimos. First thing is, look at where he cannot find a receiver. He has time to look right, he has time to look left. He tries to buy some time, and he falls awkwardly, ends up looking like nothing Ricky Ray ever looks like. And then a second situation, we never see Ricky Ray hit, and watch this, all of a sudden, bam! That rarely happens to Ricky Ray. Credit Richie Hall in the sense that he had these guys prepared.
Yeah, that defensive secondary, like Jock, you talked about, Schultz, that D-line, and we see Brown on special teams. We see Shante Peoples there knocking Ricky Ray's lights out. Well, let's talk about a little offense on the other side there and watch the offensive line. This big man right here continues to have a stellar game. Big Green, number 68, will open up the hole for this man. You watch how this line of scrimmage is now changed. It goes from back here to right here. Kenton Keith doesn't get touched until he's 8 yards down the football field. That is domination at the line of scrimmage. And then we take it down here. It's just flying, just following the hole of Big Thomas, number 53 on the outside. Great downfield blocking. And then they give it to the bread and butter man, the Hulk. They give it to Zarka down close, and he pounds over Mobley. Dave, that's complete domination line of scrimmage. That's why they're up right now. But you know what? It's anybody's ball game. 15 minutes to go.
Winnipeg and BC sitting atop the West, tied for first. Is Saskatchewan set to join them?
Full house at Taylor Field in Regina, ready for the 4th quarter. Nealon Green at the controls, and he misses his first pass of the final quarter with a 23-14 lead. The rest of the numbers look like this.
And this is probably the most impressive right here. Rushing yards for Saskatchewan, 162. Nealon Green with a bunch of those. Time of possession starting to equal out a little bit, but 162 yards rushing for Saskatchewan in 3 quarters. And I agree with Matt Dunnigan. That offensive line is getting it done for Saskatchewan right now.
Riders look at 2nd and 10 from the Saskatchewan 18. The Eskimos pin the deep with a long punt by Sean Fleming. And here's the heat. Jackson makes the catch. Quincy Jackson has the catch. It will be short of a first down, but there's a penalty marker down as well.
You know, the Saskatchewan Roughriders certainly don't have a big enough lead that they can become conservative offensively. Tom Higgins has a lot of bullets in his gun.
88, decline, third down.
And you can tell Danny Barrett didn't do that in the first series of this fourth quarter. Came out and threw the football on both downs, first and second.
And inside the 25, he's
31
down there.
31, tell everybody.
Little excitement. The Eskimo bench, Dan Kepley and the head coach Tom Higgins shouting at the troops on a third down for the Roughriders, a kicking situation for Paul McCallum. Winston October deep with Corey Bailey for the Eskimos. McCallum standing inside his 15. Not a great kick for McCallum, at least by his standards. This is Bailey looking to turn the corner, and the Eskimos come away with pretty good field position as a result of the exchange. Terrence Melton leading the tacklers. Dan Kepley, a Hall of Famer from the Eskimo dynasty years, without question, a linebackers coach. Another Eskimo will join him this year, Ron Este, currently on the Saskatchewan sidelines as the Roughriders defensive line coach.
Sending in those signals, and a buddy of mine also goes in this year, Dave Ridgway. Saskatchewan Roughriders will be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Thanks to you, Ridgway gets in.
Well, I didn't want to mention it, but I'm glad you did.
Thank you. Behind the intended target, who was Ed Hervey. The Eskimos having trouble with the Saskatchewan defense and the cornerbacks a couple of times tonight. The big plays from just about everybody. How about that from Reggie Hunt?
Well, you saw one of each there. There's two for the DBs now. Jason Mallett. Watch, here comes the D-line again. Right there, Shante Peoples. Whoa.
Ricky Ray complete, but there's nowhere to run after the catch is made. Snowed under. Jason Tucker back in the lineup, giving this Edmonton Eskimo offense even more weapons. Tucker, an All-Canadian last year, missing last week's game. Almost 1,000 yards receiving for Tucker last year, but the Saskatchewan defense is really fired up tonight.
Yeah, and they made a statement. They really have made a statement in this game.
What's up out there? Everybody representing out there, Texas, baby.
You've got Mike Pringle and an Edmonton receiving corps, arguably tops in the league, and right now they've been shut down.
Flags are down on the return by McCallum. We'll check out the infraction and return to Taylor Field, Regina. Sold out for another Roughriders homecoming tonight. Pretty summer evening on the prairies. A great night for Saskatchewan football. Sold out at Taylor Field, and the Riders hanging on to a 9-point lead.
Well, it certainly is different when you are a fan of this football team and the entire Saskatchewan organization mourning the death of a great Saskatchewan Roughriders supporter. Lorne Shorty Mitchell died on Monday after the game at 76. Was a season ticket holder here with the Saskatchewan Roughriders for 41 years and helped out Norm Fong, the equipment man here, for 15 years. But that's the type of thing that happens here in Saskatchewan with people. They buy their season tickets and then they have them for their entire lives and hand them down to their kids.
Shorty Mitchell was around on Saturday afternoon, had a little chat with him prior to the game, and the Roughriders will honor him by remembering his special seat in Taylor Field for the rest of this season. 2nd and 5, Roughriders. Nealon Green. Maybe close to a first down there on the toss and completion to Matt Dominguez. It looks like at least a 5-yard gain. And the spot will be important to the Riders, but close enough,
you know,
to bring the chains out.
Unless Nealon Green really breaks out throwing the football in the remaining 11:57, his numbers passing the ball are not going to be all that dramatic once again. The Riders hang on to win this football game. Not only has he been the leader of that, but he's made the throws he's had to. That one for a first down.
Wow. Right on the money for Dominguez. He needed 5 yards.
He got
5 yards 6 inches.
That's right.
Yeah.
How about the Travis Moore for a touchdown when he read the blitz? He hasn't been perfect in the passing game, but he's made the passes he's had to put his team in front at this point.
Saskatchewan first down, the Roughriders 35. Green has liked the shotgun a lot tonight. He's got Jackson, and this is a huge first down for Quincy Jackson. Singer or Mobley over to make the tackle.
A first down, John, that changes field position. Singer Mobley is vacating the middle of the field, and Nealon Green notices it. He's got patience. He waits till Quincy Jackson opens up over the middle, and you can see Mobley trying to recover and get in on the tackle. Another big, big first down for Nealon Green.
26 yards for Quincy Jackson. And the Riders are in Eskimo territory again with just under 11 minutes to go and the wind at their backs. Here comes the heat, and Green steps up. 7 yards, maybe 8. Raheem Abdullah, the tackle there.
Remember, all of this that Nealon and Green has done so far in this game with the pressure of the information that Henry Burris, former Saskatchewan Roughrider, this was his 2000 season, over 4,000 yards. Obviously, with that many yards, he can throw the football, 30 touchdowns, and he will be here tomorrow.
He has agreed to terms with the Roughriders. Danny Barrett says that is only going to make us a stronger football team. Nealon Green is still #1, and he's proving it tonight. And Keith, in his second game, with a spin move there for a first down.
And John, though, you know, and I agree with Danny Barrett in a couple of ways. First of all, Nealon Green was here from day one in training camp, working hard to become the starting quarterback. Under the pressure of Kevin Glenn as his backup. Remember, when they came into training camp, there was real competition as to who would be the starter this year, no question. Nealon Green came in, but he could have been bumped out of there had Kevin Glenn shown enough. So he plays under that pressure. He's won the job because of that. And there's loyalty involved from Danny Barrett, and I think that's going to pay dividends down the stretch.
Another Roughrider first down. Denton Keith got that one, and that was well set up, but Corey Grant couldn't catch up to the pass from Nealon Green there.
And the other side is, though, is that Danny Barrett is absolutely right. Henry Burris improves his football team. Because think of the duo now between Nealon Green and what he brings to the table with regards to his ability to run the football when he gets in trouble. And not only that, but design plays where he runs the football for first downs. And then the passing ability of a Henry Burris once he learns the new changes in the offense.
This will be 2nd and 10 Saskatchewan at the Eskimo 35. Travis Moore. Flags are down in the Saskatchewan backfield, and Moore has the 20-yard line. He'll have a first down.
This one's coming back. This one will come back. It'll be holding against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And just to pick up on the Burris story coming into Regina.
Legal block to the head. Saskatchewan number 65. 2nd down, repeater.
We saw a similar situation with Pat Barnes lining up behind Kahari Jones last night in Winnipeg. Jones didn't play all that well.
And didn't get much help.
No, he didn't. And Barnes came in and wasn't able to move the football team either. So it doesn't always have a terrifically positive effect immediately when a quarterback is added to the roster, even one like Burris with experience, or Pat Barnes, who has been around the CFL.
Well, and you mentioned earlier, John, there may be an extra quarterback here in Saskatchewan. Remember, what happens in BC? Dave Dickinson has a broken finger in the non-throwing hand. See how he developed.
Nealon Green has Corey Grant. Grant is surrounded and comes up well short of the first down, with Mobley applying the final tackle.
And in order to be able to do what Danny Barrett is going to attempt to do when he brings in Henry Burris, he'll want to keep Kevin Glenn. He'll also want to keep Rocky Butler if he can, and Nealon Green remains the starter. In order to be able to accomplish that and execute it, he has to have all 4 of those quarterbacks buying in. They have to see the bigger picture. It's not about me. There's no I in team. It's about the W. If he can get all 4 of them to buy in, which he should be able to, he will manage that situation correctly, and this team will be better for it.
Sometimes it's tough to get 2 quarterbacks on the same page. Trying to keep 4 on the same page is going to be a monumental task. Paul McCallum, a long field goal try, goes wide from 48. We've seen some big returns on field goals so far this season. This one ends at the 35 for Winston October. So McCallum misses, but the Riders continue to hold the lead. Here's the game story brought to you by Sport Check, Canada's largest sporting goods retailer. Sport Check, the best value.
Nealon Green, 171 passing yards, but more importantly, 89 rushing yards.
Ricky Ray, a below par performance, 50% for 88 yards.
Roughriders in total 180 yards rushing. Give credit to that Rider defense with that 88 yards with Ricky Ray.
And the Rider offensive line to open the holes for all those rushing yards. Terry Vaughn makes the catch. Tough to bring down, but he's grabbed by Davin Bush at the 40-yard line.
You see the cruising going on now? Right at the end of that play, it was a huge hit from Kevin Loughridge. And I'm surprised that one wasn't called. Got Andre Brown, and Loughridge went about 20 yards to track him down and just flatten him.
Gain of 6, 2nd and 4 Eskimos going into the wind. Ricky Ray with time. Well defended by Omar Morgan, who has made a couple of big plays tonight.
Yeah, you know, they're playing with so much confidence. I'm talking about the secondary. Right now, this Riders secondary, because Omar Morgan started to break on this slant pattern before the ball left the hands of Ricky Ray. And look how quickly and in great position he was. And you know, for you to break that quickly on a slant like that, you're playing with a ton of confidence, because one pump fake and you're in big trouble. But that group back there in the back end right now for the green and white, playing great football.
Go, boys!
Nickerson and McCallum back for this. McCallum from the 25 into a maze of players from both teams. Riders hanging on with 6:41 to go. It's only a 9-point lead, but just about everything is going right for the green and white at Taylor Field on this night. Solid defense from all corners. Superb night for Nealon Green running the football. 21 yards here, 6. This for 43 yards, Glenn.
Against the wind. That set up this throw to Dominguez.
And then this touchdown to Travis Moore. 70-yard drive for the Riders against a stiff breeze at Taylor Field. From the 31, flags are down on a first down, Saskatchewan. Jackson again, he's made some big catches tonight, short of the first down there. Let's bring in Kelvin Cron at the Rider bench.
Yeah, guys, earlier this week at the pregame press conference, Danny Barrett spoke about why Nealon Green has improved so much this season. He cited 2 reasons. He said, one, he's gotten rid of the visor that was on his shield. Instead of going to a tinted visor, he's gone to a clear visor. The other reason was because of the knee brace, which Danny Barrett felt was holding him back. He got rid of that bulky brace, and you can see tonight in his running style, he feels quicker. Guys?
I hate those frosted visors, don't you?
You get the tinted one, and you know, the upside, I guess, is that the defensive backs can't read your eyes, but the downside is that it might impede your vision, and he's got that clear one on now. And
technically, under CFL rules, you're supposed to have a letter from your eye doctor to be allowed to wear one. Penalty was against the Eskimos offside, and that made it 1st and 5, Saskatchewan. Chris Zarka the carry there.
Well, he certainly hasn't had a problem finding where the tacklers are and avoiding them, looking through that visor tonight when he's run the football.
Zarka for a couple of yards. This will be 2nd and 2. 5:29. Time running out on the Eskimos for a comeback, but it is not impossible. A 9-point lead is all the Roughriders have right now. Jason French. This could go a long way. It already has. Cut from behind at the 22. Darryl Crutchfield saved the touchdown.
Nice call from the bench. Marcel Belfay calling a little rub and getting Jason French on the end. He's wide open. It's cleared out for him, and then he just uses speed to pick up what he can, and he picks up a bunch. Marcel Belfay, I saw him call that from the bench. They were excited about it. They quickly tried to get Nealon Green's attention to get that one in there to him, and it worked like a dream.
Should be a bigger smile on Marcel's face after a 49-yard gain there.
He's thinking about the next one, though.
Oh, what he's got called here, you mean?
Yeah.
4:29 to go. Riders in scoring position and get a little closer there on the carry by Kenton Keith. This is a fun place when the hometown team is playing as well as the Roughriders have in 2003.
As far as the Eskimos are concerned, John, Tom Higgins told you and I before the game that he's got a 2-quarterback system going. When the Eskimos come back over the ball, it appears that Hendricks is going to be the guy to see if he can get the Eskimos some much-needed points. He's got the helmet strapped on and ready.
Okay, Ray, 3:55 to go. The Riders aren't finished with this drive as of yet. 2nd down, Zarka plows straight ahead. Kelvin Powell stops it short of a 1st down. So it's decision time for Danny Barrett in a 9-point night. Do you take the automatic 3 or try and keep it going on 3rd and 1?
Well, it depends on if it's 3rd and 1 or if it's 3rd and 1.5. And that only sounds like 6 inches, but that's a long 6 inches. And, you know, a couple of things when you think about this decision from Danny Barrett. One is his offensive line have played well. They've dominated that line of scrimmage. And I think when you add it all up, the play of the offensive line, Danny Barrett is waving to his offense saying, guys, go get it for me.
Barrett gambled early in this game unsuccessfully, but it did pin the Eskimos deep. 3 minutes on the clock exactly.
You're going to call
Barrett
his timeout.
is second-guessing himself.
No, I don't think he is, John. I think he was trying to communicate to Nealon Green. The crowd started to get excited. And I think he wanted to talk to Nealon Green about the 20-second clock. Make sure he'd use the 20-second clock. He couldn't get that thought out there to Nealon Green. So he said, you know what? I'm not taking a gamble here. I'm going to call a timeout.
3-minute warning. That's all the time the Eskimos have left to make up a 9-point deficit against the Roughriders tonight. Roughrider coach Danny Barrett has reaffirmed his decision.
Well, if he kicks a field goal, Edmonton would need 2 majors to come back. But this is a lot of confidence. He's only got about a yard to go.
So he's gambling.
His offense.
3rd down. And 1 to go. No flags anywhere. Zarka is very close. The spot is crucial for Saskatchewan here and now.
It really is. It really is. And I love the call. And I'll tell you why. Because when you're that close and you're a yard away and that is a yard, you go with what's brought you here, and that's your offensive line. And if there's a mistake made on the play, Zarka left his feet. And as soon as you leave your feet, you have lost contact with the ground. You no longer have leverage. Did they make it? No.
The Eskimos have a huge stand there. The gamble does not pay off for Danny Barrett.
See, you know, Zarka is the best in the business at this. when he gets the football, he normally just pounds it in there, and then he can fall off one side or the other of the pile and keep chugging his feet.
They submarined him that time and kept him from gaining the yard.
But, John, as soon as he took the ball, he was leaping out in the air. He tried to leave his feet,
yes,
and he lost all leverage when he did that.
So we're in for a great finish. A 9-point game. The Eskimos have the ball. They have to drive against the wind and need a touchdown and a field goal for a victory. Touchdown, Saskatchewan. This one is over. Davin Bush, second return for a touchdown that we've seen tonight. Same end zone, different team.
That's another reason, John, I love the call from Danny Barrett. He had confidence in his offensive line. Okay, they didn't get it, but he also has a tremendous amount of confidence in his defense. They played well all night. Why not put him back on the field? Who knows? They may score.
Well, Bart Hendricks throws up a touchdown. Davin Bush takes it 16 yards for the Saskatchewan Major.
It's fitting. It is so fitting to have Davin Bush hit the end zone with the way this secondary is played for Saskatchewan tonight.
2:45 to go, and all of a sudden the Roughriders have a 16-point lead. It's 30-14 at Taylor Field as Bush celebrates his first of the season. They sold the joint out, and there's been plenty to cheer about for Rough Rider fans here tonight.
And across the province, everyone getting a chance to watch this one. And what a show this defense has put on. Bart Hendricks back in the game for the second series tonight. And in his first pass, Davin Bush says, "See ya."
A 16-yard touchdown for Davin Bush, his second interception of the year. Goes for 6. Flags are down. Robert Grant is 2.
John, when you break on a ball that quickly, the way this defense, there's Davin Bush early in the game. That was first quarter. See how
almost there.
See how quickly he broke on that one? Defensive line getting involved. Jason Mallett from the safety spot.
And Shante Peoples there, a punishing drive at the quarterback. There you go.
When you break on the ball that quickly and go downhill that quickly, you're playing at the top level of confidence that you can get to. Because if there's ever a double move there, an out and up or a wheel or anything like that, Davin Bush is in trouble. They're playing with so much confidence. They have read the book, the Edmonton Eskimos. And they are gone in a heartbeat.
How about that play by Reggie Hunt, too, to track down Ricky Ray when he had room to sprint to the outside. And this place, well, it's a standing O.
They're getting up here on the side of our broadcast booth. And that's what you get when your team's playing. Your team's a contender, which the Riders are this year. And you show up at Taylor Field, some kind of atmosphere here tonight.
Well, there is that glimmer of hope that the hometown team might be here in November, looking for a Grey Cup championship.
And John, whether they are or not, this is a competitive football team. And you look along the regular season and the home games they have left, it's some kind of experience to watch a game from Taylor Field.
Well, if the Rough Riders did happen to make it to the Grey Cup in November at Taylor Field, there won't be enough green paint in the province to get everybody decked out for that Sunday afternoon. Hendricks is hammered. They got him high and they got him low. First it was Reggie Hunt, and then Jackie Mitchell finished him off.
It was a race to the quarterback, and Reggie Hunt said, "I'll tell you what, I'll come from one side, I'll take the low road, you take the high road, I'll meet you in the middle."
Don't forget to vote for the Rogers AT&T Wireless Player of the Game. To vote on the internet, go to CFL.ca. To vote by text messaging, go CFL and just type that in. A little early with the announcement, but you're going to have to make a tough decision tonight as to what green shirt you're voting for. S31 should get a vote or two for the touchdown that really puts it away for Saskatchewan.
Reggie
This guy has made plays, hasn't he?
He's made plays, and you can go over to Nealon Green on the offensive side of the ball too, but if ever a defensive player is going to win player of the game, it probably should be tonight, because whether it be the defensive lineman and Nate Davis, or especially that back end who have shut down. Remember, this is the Edmonton Eskimos. This is Ed Hervey, Jason Tucker, Terry Vaughn. I mean,
and Mike Pringle coming out of the backfield.
And Mike Pringle. And all of those players have looked very average against this defense tonight.
2:08 to go. And the Eskimos are kicking again. Well, not kicking, but in that situation, Fleming will give up a couple more because there's not much advantage to trying to punt into a stiff breeze here in Saskatchewan tonight. Danny Barrett coming in with 22 wins, 6th all-time on the Saskatchewan list of coaching victories, and he's had a nice run through 4 years. Tom Higgins has had a tougher night on the other side of the field. Both teams coming in 3 wins and 2 losses, and the Riders have risen to the occasion.
Well, Higgins' team have won their last 2, both against Hamilton.
They've run this a couple of times. It's a reverse of Solis to Nickerson. And Kevin Nickerson breaks an extra tackle this time.
Well, you look at Tom Higgins' schedule this year in the Edmonton Eskimos, and questions will start to creep in. At least you got to believe that questions will start to creep into their minds when they're looking at a season when they started out with a loss to Montreal, then they beat Calgary, and Calgary's still trying to find themselves with lots of changes, then lost to Winnipeg, and then their 2 wins versus Hamilton that have obviously struggled big time at the beginning of this season. So, you know, the questions start to creep in. How good of a football team do we have in Edmonton? Certainly when you look at this football team on paper, and especially the weapons that they possess, they look good. But that's only one part of the puzzle.
Look at the Saskatchewan season then, Glenn. A win over Toronto with those 2 late touchdowns. The comeback night for Corey Grant. Week 2, a win over BC by 2 points. And then back-to-back losses for the Riders by a point to Montreal and 2 points to Winnipeg. And then the win over Hamilton convincingly last week, 42-9. The comeback in week 1.
Well, and it was amazing. 2 touchdowns, like you mentioned. You get Corey Grant. He finished it off and just shocked the Toronto Argonauts. And games like that build character on your football team. You know what it does? It takes 44 guys and it brings them all together. It unites them. Unite the clans. That's what it does. It unites them.
And we were here on Sunday afternoon, and some Rider fans were indicating to us that this team should be 4-0. And they're counting those 2 wins against Toronto and BC as automatics, and then the 2 losses to Montreal and Winnipeg as we were robbed, right? They forget about the fact that there might have been a little luck in weeks 1 and 2, but I don't think there's any luck involved in this Saskatchewan showing here tonight.
Yeah, and you don't, you know, you create your own luck. You through hard work, through preparation, through running the ball successfully. And look at that, 3 wins, 181 yards, 2 losses. When they run well, they win. Tonight, 213. And credit to that offensive line. And you create your own luck when you're running the ball like that.
Saskatchewan first down right at midfield. Hands it off immediately, and Kenton Keith has a couple. There's nothing quite like this game when you get to watch it. The stadium is full and the home team is having a night.
Nealon Green started out passing, and he set up this run with some successful passing in the first quarter. Went back to the run, going the opposite way into the wind. That set up another touchdown.
Dominguez sets up this touchdown tie.
Travis Moore in the end zone when Green picked up the blitz. And you'll talk all you want about his numbers. And
here's Nealon Green turning around and almost grabbing it. Travis Moore had a chance to pull that one down. It was behind him from Nealon Green that time.
John, talk about all you want about his numbers. So far this season coming into this game, Nealon Green had not thrown for a 300-yard game. His passing yards 220, sort of right around where he was. And I talked to Marcel Belfay about that. So you concerned about that at all? You'd like to see the, he said, you know, obviously we want to improve every week out. But Nealon Green this year has made the throws when we needed it most. When he needed to make that read down in the end zone and find Travis Moore on the blitz, he did it. And he put the ball right where it had to be.
With a breeze at his back, McCallum puts that one out of bounds. The other point about enjoying this game with a full house and the home team playing well, the other thing that comes into play is the visitors are a challenge for the home team, and the Eskimos have been that until the very final moments here, and the interception for the touchdown by Bush.
Oh, certainly they have been. They've been right here, and think we may get a sellout on Tuesday for the rematch?
Well, that's guaranteed, isn't it? It's in
certainly
Montreal. Wendy's CFL Live Tuesday night. Copeland will be there and likely celebrating a catch or two. Flags are down. Hendricks throws, and he got hammered, and there's a flag down in the backfield. Reggie Hunt making late contact, it would appear, with the Eskimo quarterback.
And Reggie Hunt's going to get called for going to the head. And, you know, Reggie Hunt threw in a perfect form tackle. I don't believe there was any intent to injure at all. He just kept playing until the whistle.
Offside, Saskatchewan number 58. Major foul, roughing the passer, Saskatchewan number 9. First down.
But John, he delivered. I mean, I'm talking about he coiled back and delivered a blow on Bart Hendricks.
That's all that matters.
Riders faced a red-hot Mike Pringle coming in with back-to-back 100-yard games and stopped him in his tracks much of the evening. Pringle had a couple of nice runs, no question.
But Edmonton stopped Pringle as well by not giving him the ball as much.
Terry Vaughn makes the catch at midfield. 1:01 on the clock, and more flags are down, and there's a fight back at the 45-yard line, 35-yard line. There we go. Sorry, guys, I couldn't get you there fast enough.
And through all of that, Reggie Hunt took a whole long time to get up. He took the worst of that last hit.
They love it.
And this has been a barroom brawl from start to finish.
Flags down right at midfield, and then a couple of flags down back at the 35. Shade Peoples not far away from the fray. Well, number one, you say, tied for number one is exactly where you are. We'll have highlights of this and everything else that went on in sports today on Sports Center with the Tishin and O'Toole coming up when we're done. The Riders do, in fact, move into a tie for first place with the BC Lions and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It's a great race for the playoffs in the West, and home field advantage in the West is already looming large, isn't it, when you start looking at the overall picture? Where are those two playoff games going to be? The Western Final and the Western Semifinal. And it's been a long time between playoff games at Taylor Field in Regina. This may take a while to sort out. Ken Lazarick. In charge of this team. There's a couple of guys gone, no question about it. Well, this town will be jumping tonight. In fact, the whole province will forget about all the troubles that the farmers are having these days and enjoy this weekend immensely. Taylor Field, Regina, once called Canada's largest outdoor insane asylum.
Yeah.
The escort for a couple of Eskimos. You see what I mean about the green paint? I mean, if the Riders happen to get to the Grey Cup, there won't be enough.
They'll find some. The province will find some. There's the escort going.
A walk.
Yeah, there's the escort going the other way. Nate Davis was in the middle of that fight. Shante Peoples came to his side. They both are escorted off as well.
That's okay with Danny Barrett as it stands right now, and the fans love it that these guys get the first chance at the showers. Keep going. Oh, I wanted to see your name on the wall in there, but the door closed too quickly.
Yeah, there's a lot of new players in town now. There's
I know, but you had to carve your
the old
initials
names
somewhere,
are off.
didn't you? No?
See Tom Higgins shaking his head.
Rough play, disqualification, Edmonton 53 and 62. Rough play, disqualification, Saskatchewan, number 98 and 58. Dead ball foul. We have to measure to see if it's a first down.
Hang in for Sports Center. Some big plays to show you one more time from this evening in this Wendy's Friday night football game at Taylor Field. Petition and O'Toole are warming up.
You know, with the fights and stuff that happen at the end of the game, as the officials continue to hear it from the coaches. I loved one time I talked to Ron Lancaster about that, and he said, you know, one thing they should probably do is just say to the guys, the officials should walk out on the field and say to the two guys that want to fight, say, okay, you know what, we'll stop the game for 10 minutes. You guys drop the gloves and we'll just see who wins.
Well, they do that every once in a while in hockey, and all of a sudden, nobody wants to fight.
Yeah.
Tough night for the Eskimos on the turf at Taylor Field. These are two teams that don't like each other a whole bunch. Mike Pringle gets the call there, and they'll get a chance in the rematch as Andre Brown makes the tackle there. Glenn's Gladiators, because it's Friday night, and we get to show the celebration of a Grey Cup victory.
I tell you one thing, it's going to a defensive player, and with all the pressure on him to stop the run, Reggie Hunt just did just that.
That was a play, wasn't it?
Big play when the Edmonton Eskimos had the win, and he wasn't finished there. He was all over the football field. Honorable mention to Davin Bush in the secondary. We'll give it to Reggie Hunt.
Well, it was a tough night to grab a Gladiator when you think about it, because both Saskatchewan corners were outstanding as well. Omar Morgan, Ladafius McCullough. But this guy really had the night, didn't he? When you look at number 9, Davin Bush, number 31, as you were mentioning there.
Yeah, and that's the tough one. I mean, the DBs played so well in this game and had the challenges of their own, and the challenges of their own were Jason Tucker, Ed Hervey, Terry Vaughn.
So now you've got the Lions and the Blue Bombers and the Roughriders all even in top spot in the CFL West, all with 4-2 records. Great finish is guaranteed. Fleming kicks it away, and Davin Bush is there waiting for it. The tough question tonight, after watching the Bombers last night and watching a solid performance by Saskatchewan this night, watching BC last week, best team in the West right now.
Are you asking me?
I am asking you.
Well, okay, I'll answer it to you this way. Watching Nealon Green and the Edmonton Eskimos play tonight, they look like a serious contender, although the BC Lions, as long as Dave Dickinson plays well and is healthy, comes back from that hand injury, he'll be fine, and I'm sure the Lions will be contenders. And, you know, I don't want to rule out the Edmonton Eskimos, and Winnipeg will bounce back. How's that for an answer?
Oh, my God. There are picket marks all over your backside from sitting on the fence.
Yeah, well, you can't. You're
it's
not
too early to take
You're not
down,
putting
right?
me on the spot at the end of week 5, buddy.
12 seconds to go.
Go, Grady 8. Grady 8. Don't fumble, Nealon.
And that was a peaceful play there after the altercations we saw just a few moments ago.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. There will be the rest of the teams across this league watching this game film and how the Saskatchewan Roughriders played defense against the Edmonton Eskimos. Every time a team goes to play Edmonton, they will watch this film closely to see how they beat them up.
Danny Barrett talked about all phases of the game at halftime, and certainly it was all in evidence tonight. Saskatchewan full value for a 32-14 victory over the Eskimos. Fun night at Taylor Field.
Packed house, Riders win.
And fireworks as we say so long.
Well, folks, that does it for us here this week. We're back at you next week with Don Matthews and the Alouettes. The rematch from last night's one-sided game. The Bombers go into Montreal. Sports Center is coming up next with Darren Detition and Dan O'Toole. They've got all the highlights and the news of the day from the world of sports. That is next. The player of the game brought to you by Rogers AT&T. 73% of the votes goes to still #1 quarterback in Regina, Nealon Green. And the Riders were big tonight. 32-14 is the final. Thanks for watching. You are watching TSN, Canada's sports leader.